Well, happy Monday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Welcome to July 1. May was dragging ass. June flew by. And now here we are on July 1st, a.k.a. my birthday month. So I hope everybody celebrates accordingly. It's good to be here with you guys. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning, Chef.
Good morning, Chef, to you. And then our resident, sweet, sweet angel. Guy worked his balls off last night till like midnight. Your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, for now, Ben Higgins. Tired.
Good morning. Yeah, a little bit, but I'm okay.
Back to the old school.
We are closer to 2025
Yeah, man.
than 2023 now.
This year's flown by.
Wow.
It's flown by. I mean, he said it on like May 6th. He just happened to drop, he goes, May is such a long month. I go, I've never really felt that way. And then about 3 weeks later, it was May 7th. And I'm like, geez, dude, you were dead on. Like, I'm in hell right now. I remember going, how many days hath May? And I looked at my calendar. I'm like, we still have another
47.
week. Yeah, 47 more days. Got through that. June hit. Padres played some decent baseball, man. That helps. You know, that absolutely helps. And now we're into July, and you know, it's on. It's on. I got so much stuff in July. I've got the busiest July of my entire life. In fact, I actually had to apologize to my wife yesterday because she said, because one of our favorite restaurants burned down. Ember and Rye is one of our favorite restaurants. We've been there on several anniversaries, big birthdays, and things like that. So yesterday, I was just feeling a little bit overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And she said, I booked us a dinner on July 26th at Ember and Rye. And I go, we got to stop planning stuff. We have to. I can't, I'm just overwhelmed. We have something every single Friday and every Saturday. She's like, oh, okay. So she laughed, and I felt bad. So I texted her, and I said, I'm really sorry. I said, you're trying to do something nice, and I, just kind of crap all over it. I said, I'm really sorry. I'm going through some stuff.
It's interesting that you would consider just like dinner, though, as like the tipping point of what you can and can't handle. Because invariably, you're going to eat dinner that night anyway. This just makes it nicer and better by going to one of your favorite restaurants. I wouldn't consider that a stressful thing that you add to the calendar. I would consider that kind of a break from all the other long things you have in the month.
Yeah, for sure. But like we're going to 2 Padres games as a family. We're going on a little mini staycation this weekend. Then I'm going to be in LA for a couple days, going to a concert the next weekend. Then Hannah and I are going to Palm Springs for my birthday. And then the week after that is that first, it's the first Friday we'll be at our home. And so I said, it's too much. I said, we don't have to book something every Friday. But then I realized, man, what a jerk. What a jerk you are. So I texted her a nice, sweet apology. I said, I'm really sorry. That was a nice gesture on your part. And I said, she's in the chat. Lock me up. Real monster here. I know. I just felt like such a butt when I did it. So I'm sorry. Please re-up our reservation, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a delicious restaurant.
Too late. It's booked up completely.
Yeah, but it's booked. You can't get it until September now. So yeah, it's just one of my many a-hole moments over the weekend. It happens. So I'm trying to be better. But once I start feeling like the calendar is really, really full, that's when the panic sets in for me. And it's weird. I'm weird like that. You know, it's funny. I ran into a beloved dear friend. I was at a birthday party, and I ran into our pal Tim Flannery, and it was for his granddaughter. And I didn't know this about Timmy, but we share the same affliction in that we are good for about an hour. Anywhere we go, we're really good for about an hour. So I saw him, and I went and sat down next to him, and I just started wearing him out for stories. And boy, did I get him. I mean, you sit down, Flan, how you doing? Oh, brother, it's good to see you. Oh, it's great to see you, too. Anyway, back in 71, and I'm like, yes! And so for the first 50 minutes of this birthday party, he just started firing baseball stories at me. I mean, he told me one that will knock your socks off. And I said, Ben's out of town on a Monday. It's actually next Monday.
Correct.
Week from today. Yep. Ben's going to be out of town. I said, Flan, will you come in? And he said, yeah. So he's going to come in
and shoot
the breeze for the last half of the show And when you sit and talk to Tim Flannery, you get that old baseball spirit, the heart, the heart of the game. Guy will tell you straight up to your face, was not the most talented baseball player. Wanted it more than anyone. And the stories that he tells, and he told me, this was really sweet. He said, how's your boy? And because he knows Bo pretty well. He's been at several of the T-ball games I've coached, and he's always remarked, he goes, I love his motor. I mean, the dude's constantly hustling. He's dialed in for a 5-6-year-old.
That's a big compliment from Tim Flannery.
100%. And he said to me, he goes, is he getting over it yet? And I go, oh, no. I said, we went from one camp to a practice, and it still wasn't enough. He wanted grounders when we got home. He goes, that is just how I was. He goes, and they all used to tell me, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. He goes, guess what? I still haven't burned out on the game. He would go back and coach. If they needed him today, he would go back and coach. That's how much he loves it. So when I'm with him, I am filled. Like, my spirit is full with, like, baseball, like just the love and the heart of the game. And I feel like the game is missing some of that these days.
There are a lot of kids who do burn out early, but there's the occasional few that just have an endless supply of, I just want to do this. Tiger Woods is the first example I think of.
Yeah.
Golfing from basically the age of 1.
The difference,
and
though.
And still to this day, if his legs would allow it, he'd be out there every single week playing, because he just loves golf and he loves doing it.
And the thing is, too, is I read a lot about how champions are made and things like that. Not that, I don't think my son's going to be a big leaguer. I don't. It's minuscule, the odds. But I read a lot about how dads were with their kids. And you read about, like, Bryce Harper's dad, tyrant. But, I mean, if the end game is Bryce Harper, you did pretty good. I read about Earl Woods. I'm tyrant. I mean, straight up. And you do get the sense, though, that a lot of those were the dad saying, get your ass up, get your ass outside, we're doing this. I don't have to do that with him. I don't ever have to do it. I've never asked him to take grounders. Never once. I've never asked him to go get some swings. He always comes to me, which is great, because I don't feel like the tyrant in the whole thing. So, I ripped him fungos in the street yesterday. We got done. He was diving around on the concrete, making plays. We get inside. We chill for about 20 minutes, and he looks at me. He goes, grounders? He wanted more. And I'm like, holy smoke. So it's cool, man. Being around Flan makes me feel good. It just the stories are just through the roof. So excited about that for next month.
Yeah, I think you handle it the right way, because you encourage but never require.
No.
I think for every Tiger Woods, there's 500 kids like Todd Marinovich, whose dad pushed them too hard, probably wrecked their life to a certain extent because they were trying to live out their dreams through their kids by, I never made it pro, but you're going to make it pro. You're going to, my disappointment of not getting there, I'm going to live vicariously through you. And that almost never works when you do it that way.
The best baseball player that I ever knew growing up, he was a year younger than me. He got drafted. Didn't even have a cup of coffee in the bigs. It was like an espresso shot, but he made it. He's one of the,
20,000, yeah.
And which is great. But, dude, growing up, like, his dad was so hard on him. He's like, I can't. We'd go out for pizza or something as a team. He's like, I can't. My dad's got me on a diet.
Oh.
We'd all stay the night at somebody's house, have a party. He'd be doing push-ups in the corner because my dad says I got to do 200 push-ups every night. And we're just like, you nerd.
That's tough, dude.
But, like, he made it.
He made it.
So I don't know if it was right or wrong. But from the outside, I was like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
100%.
You can't just be a dude.
Can't just be a kid. Yeah, it's really tough. But he's staying really committed to it. But anyway, yeah, Flan's got that thing where the anxiety kicks in after a while, and he's like, "All right, that's it for me. You guys know me. I mean, I'm an hour. I'm an hour tops, and I made it 3 hours at this little kid's birthday party. Thank you to Flan for helping me kill that first hour, but not easy, man. It's not easy. Once I start to feel like it's all getting full up, I start to panic, start to fan myself, be like, I gotta go. I wish I wasn't that way, but I know a lot of people can relate to that out there. How was everybody else's weekend around here? What'd you guys do?
Mine was quiet, got some stuff done around the house. Went to Costco. They already had all the Halloween merchandise out, which seemed, it always seems earlier every single year. It was still June. and there's
You know
pumpkins
what? Target,
and
Walmart,
witches,
Costco,
and
just
I'm going.
leave them all out. Leave the Christmas decorations.
All year.
Have a Christmas
I
section.
mean, we
have
saw
a Halloween
July,
section.
August, September, and then October,
Yeah,
and
full
all
month
of
of
October
October.
before we actually get to Halloween. That's 4 months. That's we're a third of the year away from Halloween. A full third of the year. I'm not going to buy a giant jack-o'-lantern at Costco on June 29th. I'm just not going to do it.
What about costumes, though? You want to get your costume. If they have costumes, you want to get it now. But if you have little kids, they're going to change their mind 15 times. My kids, Taylor just wants to be David Bowie again. And I'm like, you get to mix it up, bro. You can mix it up anytime you want, and you can be whatever you want. And I'm like, do you want to be like a different version of David Bowie? He goes, no, Ziggy Stardust. I go, all right, well, again, we're going to have the same picture of you, but if you love it, you love it. So that's kind of what he wants to do. But, yeah, man, it was low-key. I took 2 naps yesterday, which was incredible. The post-breakfast nap is elite. You wake up, took the kids to Home State in Oceanside. We had some breakfast tacos. Hannah slept in. Took them there. By the time we got home, I go, I'm ready for another nap.
Really?
Yeah, so I got in. I slept for an hour or so. Woke up to the early Padres game and was like, this is great.
Was the second nap? Or
No, that was the first nap.
That was the first nap. When did the second nap then come?
When Taylor went down for his nap at 1.
Really? And you were tired enough that you could, after napping
Gassed.
before the Padres game, you were tired enough to nap again immediately after the Padres game.
Absolutely
But
gassed.
you didn't play in the Padres game.
No, I was just gassed. Completely gassed from the weekend. You know, I feel rested today. I feel great. Hopefully everybody's feeling good out there. We got a good show for you today. Benny will set the menu for you next, and we'll get into it, man. I'm very pleased. I was very pleased. Like, 2 games in a hostile environment where you literally didn't even have to go pour yourself a drink because you were nervous about the win. I mean, just 2 absolute bangers of a game, followed by a little bit of a clunker yesterday, but one that you were still in. You were a hit away.
Yeah, you were never totally thrilled about their chances yesterday, but you take the series win and move on. We'll set the menu, get you ready for a good Monday. Obviously, short week for us, like most of you, with the 4th of July coming up on Thursday, so we got a lot to pack in over the next 3 days. Glad you're with us on a Monday morning. It's Ben, it's Woods, it's Paul. We're going until 10 o'clock. Thank you for joining us on San Diego's #1 sports station. Check traffic with Kelly right now on 97.3 The Fan. For a couple of weeks there, it just felt like every Padres game was a soap opera of, comebacks, walk-offs, disappointment, heartbreak, the Washington National Series with everything that went on there. And now the last few days have been relatively drama-free for your San Diego Padres. 2 very drama-free wins and 1 mostly drama-free loss yesterday to the Boston Red Sox as they take 2 out of 3 over the weekend to open their road trip. Another day off today for your San Diego Padres. And then they will finish their road trip. Last 3 road games of the first half of the season in Texas against the defending World Series champion Rangers tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. 4th of July Thursday in Texas in Arlington. So, I don't know. How do you feel about less drama in a baseball game? I mean, we watch baseball for the entertainment, for the excitement. And somehow when a game doesn't have a lot of excitement, it's almost a relief, at least for me.
Well, if you win, yeah, man, those games, the games Friday night and Saturday night, I looked at the betting lines on both, and we were pretty heavy underdogs. I took them both nights and was like, that was like the easiest money I've won all year. I looked at it and thought, this team's playing red hot right now, and
were the Red Sox going into that series.
And they're going up against some good arms. I had that feeling. I just had that feeling that the guys were going to play really well, and boy, did they. I mean, everybody contributed. We're going to get into the details of all the games, but and as far as yesterday goes, pretty drama-free as well. Wasn't the worst game they played this season by any stretch, but you really, man, you wanted to drive that nail home yesterday and get that sweep. Of course, for us,
the problem is too many of those games like yesterday where you're like, who's Josh Winkowski?
Yeah.
Too many of those. That's when you start wanting to just pull your hair out.
Exactly, but it's also like, man, we beat Tanner Hawk-Tua real good the other night and took care of Pavetta and all these guys. Oh, he's not giving up a home run and so. I mean, we just laid the wood to those guys those first 2 games in Fenway. Huge contingent of Padre fans out there as well, bro. After a long ass, pretty heavy week with the fights and everything else and a lot of drama and everything else and Schilt on Friday, it was so nice to watch them go into Fenway and handle business, man. And I know we're back to it's fine, we won the series, but it is fine that we won that series because is this what the mighty Red Sox have? This is what they sound like now after the Padres get done with them. Boy, it hits different, doesn't it? I don't know if there's a better song though. For like, if you're a team and that's like your team song, I don't know if there's one better than Shipping Up to Boston. Does any song,
isn't Sweet Caroline really their team song though?
It's their 7th inning song.
Love this new film.
I love
it. It's the rough
best.
weekend.
Rough weekend for old Caroline.
Where it began, I can't begin to know.
It's the best bit.
But then I know it's growing strong.
I feel like I'm on mushrooms right now. Did I take DMT?
Wasn't the spring. And spring
Some guy at a Neil Diamond concert in the 70s gets dosed with something. He's like, this sucks, man. This sucks bad. No, it was great. I mean, hey, look. I like a good old-fashioned ass kicking. Who are we to sit here and say, boy, those 9-1 wins are sure getting old. I mean, you must be out of your mind. I really prefer the 4-3 or the 5-4 walk-off. No, give me the 9-1.
Exactly.
Give me the 9-1 drubbing
exactly.
where I can sit back and go, oh, I mean, look, I tweeted it the other day, and it was joking when I said it, but behind every joke, there's a little truth. We were up 10 runs, and I went, something tells me we're still going to have to get Bob Suarez up. Robert Suarez got to go to Boston and eat clam chowder. He didn't have to do a damn thing. Fantastic weekend for him. Nice little vacation. And you reset and got some guys some rest. It was great. It was a great, great series in Boston. You can't look at it any other way. I don't want to hear any, we should have swept. That's a good-ass team that you're playing up there. And they got you yesterday. Your ace, our ace to this point, did not have his best stuff yesterday. Made a costly mistake to Rafi Devers, and it happens.
Yeah, we'll talk about Matt Waldron and his visit to Fenway Park. A lot of Tim Wakefield talk. during the game yesterday as well. Ultimately, though, it was a good month of June for the San Diego Padres. They finished by winning 9 of their last 11 games in the month. They're 4 games above 500, currently occupying one of the playoff spots in the National League. The only thing they didn't do in June, and this is more of a Ben and Woods sort of Monday morning problem, they did not win any Sunday games in the month of June, which means every Monday morning we get a losing edition of a Padres Wrap-Up, which we will have for you coming up here in about 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah.
You guys can't sandwich? Give me a sandwich? A win, loss,
We
win.
don't work on the Sabbath anymore? What's going,
what's
guys?
happening?
Come on.
Seriously.
Why is the Sunday game always the toughest one to win?
Y'all always finding something to complain about, ain't you? I swear to God. Always complaining about something. He's gonna kill
That's correct.
us. Yeah. He's going to murder us.
But we'll have lots of good baseball to talk about as well in our 7 o'clock hour. Take on Woods. We still have opportunities to win that getaway to the Fontainebleau Las Vegas concert tickets. $150 food and beverage credit poolside. That's at 7:10. Don't do this at 7:20. Our normal segments, of course. Second half of the show on Monday, we will catch up with in-season Sammy, talk about his weekend covering the San Diego Padres as well. Some headlines in our Reindl Report, but mostly some baseball talk from over the weekend. Lots of Padres news and notes to get to. And just try to, you got, 1.5 more weeks here to the All-Star, or 2 more weeks until the All-Star break. You got 1 road series and then 1 homestand of 8 games. So you got 11 games left until the All-Star break. Just finish out the rest of the first half somehow with a winning record over those 11 games. Stay above 500. You're in good shape going into that last stretch run post All-Star break.
Yeah, and everyone's talking about all the off days, and I think inherently they are a great thing for a team that's beat up, and that's our on-paper analysis. Right. On paper, this is a great thing. Pitching especially.
Now, when your offense is as hot as it is, off days aren't necessarily the best thing.
But, you got a banged-up Jurickson Profar. You got a banged-up Manny Machado. You've got a banged-up Luis Ariz. Those are 3 pretty important pieces for you moving forward. But, man, I got excited about it, and I do love the off days, and they deserve them. They've earned them. They've played a buttload of baseball the first half of the season. But, man, I looked at that July schedule and went, whoo, mama. It's going to be pretty nasty. 3 with Texas.
Yeah.
Then the Diamondbacks at home
this week, for sure.
And then a couple with Seattle, then the Braves, then you get a break. Then you go to Cleveland, who's unreal. Then you go to Washington, which it's going to be. James Wood's going to be up. He's making his Major League debut today. Then you got the Orioles. Then you got the Dodgers to round out the month. So, some more great baseball is going to need to be played.
The good news is because they had this stretch, you don't need to go on a huge winning streak against these teams. You just have to not give it back and not have that stretch where you lose 6 of 7 or 5 in a row, which has been the problem through the first half of the season. Have they gotten over that? That'll be the next sign to see if the Padres really are kind of taking those strides and turning the corner that Mike Schill always said they were going to.
Sure.
The whole way all along, he said, we're going to keep getting better. This is not the final version. This is not the end product. It's going to keep getting better as the season goes on. And so far, he has proved pretty prescient about what his team is going to look like over the course of the season.
East County Chris says, but we play better against good teams. Yeah, we have to this point. There is no reason to think that we'll continue to do so. We were playing lights out on the road. Then we stopped. We were playing poorly at home. Then they got better at home. So there's no trends for the San Diego Padres that are going to remain true for the entire season. That's one thing that I can say we've learned. We've learned our lesson, right? That if it's going a certain way, the chances are it will not continue going that way. So I like it.
And I think there's a big reason for that. And we're finally kind of understanding it. Let's talk about it when we come back in our Padres wrap-up, because yesterday was kind of the perfect example of both the strengths and the potential flaws of this San Diego Padres team. We'll get to that coming up next Monday morning. Glad to have you with us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So the funny thing is yesterday's game, while it was a 4-1 loss compared to 2 overwhelming wins on Friday and Saturday, wasn't that different from the other 2 games. Yeah, I know you're going, what that doesn't make any sense, Ben. Doesn't make any sense at all.
How many runs did we score?
1.
Okay.
And they scored 11 and 9. How?
20 runs.
Speaking of somebody
One
that's
run.
taken DMT this morning.
No, but this is why the Padres will always have you kind of on the edge of your seat. The way that, they have constructed their offense, they're going to have to outscore their opponent to win the games.
That's right, John.
The fact that they generally, when they rally, they have to string together many, many hits together for a lot of their rallies. They had a 9-run, 9-1. I mean, they only scored in 1 inning on Friday.
I know.
They only scored in 1 inning on Friday.
Was a good one, though.
They also scored in 1 inning on Sunday. It just, when the other team gets a big, comes up with a pitch and gets a double play, kills that rally really quickly, well, all of a sudden the Padres just don't do much offensively. And yesterday they had 8 hits. They had lead runners on all day long. They just weren't able to then string a couple of more hits together like they did in really just 2 big rallies. They had a 6-run rally on Saturday, a 9-run rally on Friday, and that was the difference in the entire series, those 2 really great innings. Otherwise...
I mean, do you think Boston radio this morning is going, well... If we just erase that 9-run inning and we erase that 6-run inning, we got them right where we want them. I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm talking about Patriots OTAs.
That's exactly right.
Who are the Celtics going to
Who
get
are the
free
Padres?
agency?
I don't even know they still had a team. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I don't want to come in here this morning after the run that they've been on and be like, all right, let's nitpick some stuff. But I think there's a couple things you can look at yesterday that absolutely made me pull my hair out for sure. I think you guys know what I'm about to do, but should we play the wrap-up first?
Sure. Let's get to our Padres wrap-up of yesterday's game. We'll go through a little Mount Waldron talk and more coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Looking pretty good on our roads, guys. We are getting reports, however, of some large debris in middle lanes on northbound 15, just before Bernardo Center. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. And Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
And a 2-1 pitch hit in the air to left field and deep. Profar will turn around to watch up at the monster, and it's gone. A home run. 2-run shot for Rafael Devers, his second of the series. And the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Their first lead since they were up 1-0 in the fourth on Friday. 2-1 pitch is way outside. Going to go to the backstop. Going to get a run home. Abreu charging in from third. Slides in head first. A wild pitch on a knuckleball. And a 3-0 Red Sox lead. 1-1 pitch hit in the air deep down the right field line towards the pole. Gone. A home run. Darren Duran, a lead shot here in the fifth inning. He has gone deep back-to-back games. Kind of a carbon copy shot down that right field line. And the Red Sox lead is 4-0. 3-1 to Kim. The pitch is swung on and hit fair up the left field line. That's going to roll to the corner. Merrill racing around third. He scores easily. Kim into second base. It's an RBI double. And the Padres are on the board here in the seventh inning. It's 4-1. Kim swings, hits it in the air to left center field. Long run, Rafaela into the gap. He's there, and he makes the catch to end the game. 1-2-3, top of the ninth for Kenley Jansen, his 16th save of the year. Padres cannot complete the sweep here at Fenway, but they come to Boston and take 2 out of 3, as they have still won 9 out of their last 11 games.
Yeah. I mean, I think, they got the lead, put some swings on Waldy.
Right.
They were able to add on a little bit.
had some guys on, just couldn't cash in. It was a good series. Bullpen was really good. Comes in, Wandy gets his guys, and Kolwick with the clean 6, and Morihon and Estrada got out there and got some work, so that was good and clean, and with zeros. So just couldn't push enough to cross today.
There you go.
There you go, 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position after dominating in those situations on Friday and Saturday, and the Padres lose the series finale 4-1. And not going to pin it all on Matt Waldron, who's been so good, but
great.
Clearly there was something extra for him going into that game yesterday. And, sometimes that can be a good thing.
Yeah.
You've got that extra motivation, the extra emotion that really fuels you, but sometimes it can also be too much.
Take you out of your game a little.
Exactly. And I think there may have been a little bit of that. I don't know if he'd agree or not, but clearly, guy was very emotional about pitching at Fenway Park. Tim Wakefield, where they, honored him, and Tim Wakefield had helped Matt Waldron with the knuckleball, and obviously that had been an important and special relationship for Matt Waldron to go back to the mound where Tim Wakefield pitched. They've got Wakefield's number up there atop the Green Monster after he passed away. Very sad story from the offseason, and it meant a lot for him to go out there yesterday. And when that happens, especially for a knuckleballer, what I've always heard is that the last thing you want as a knuckleballer is anything that really throws you off that normal, very precise rhythm that you need to take the spin off of a baseball. The humidity probably didn't help as well. Apparently, it was like the stickiest game of the year for the San Diego Padres.
You could feel it, man, through the TV. I mean, before the rain started dumping, all their jerseys were just soaked.
And he was wearing the long sleeves to try to keep the ball,
changing
ball
them out.
dry, no dripping onto his hands because of the grip that he needs for the. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Matt Waldron.
I'm not going to alibi it.
It clearly seemed to affect him, and I thought in the first inning in particular, and part of it was the broadcast, which Don and Mudd were doing a good job. But he walked He walked the third batter, so he put someone on for Rafael Devers.
Can't do it.
And he gets deep into the count, and they're talking about the fact that Devers is such a good, fastball hitter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's nasty.
So better not miss with a fastball to Rafael Devers.
And to be honest with you, he didn't. He threw it outer third, but he covers every pitch.
But I think the situation there is if you hadn't just walked the guy before, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes, right? You don't want to walk another guy.
Right. So you throw
You don't know if that knuckleball is on yet, so you try to get a fastball past him, and he, of course, doesn't hit it a mile. I think the XBA was 200, but it's the wall. It's the Green Monster. It's a fly ball, probably an out in a lot of parks, but there it's a home run, and now you're behind 2-0, and you're playing catch up the rest of the game.
Yeah, Devers should literally, if you're a knuckleball pitcher, he should never see a fastball. I mean, he'll swing at stuff out of the zone, and the knuckleball, I mean, I get it. If it's not working, walk him. Walk him, you take your chances with the next guy. You cannot, and I know that the reason that Waldron's been so effective is that he's not just up there flipping knuckleballs. His 91 looks 98 after you've seen a couple of those bad boys. He's got a really good sweeper as well, so he likes to use all of his arsenal.
And getting ahead with that which makes him, the knuckleball, just that much more effective because you can't take it with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Because it might flutter right into the zone.
There's no question.
So you have to start swinging, and it gives him such an advantage that he never really took advantage of yesterday.
Yeah, and Devers saw that heater, 91, I think, on the outer third, and just went boop and flicked it over the monster like he's done before and like he'll do, probably 400 more times in his career. He is an elite baseball player. So, yeah, man, that's kind of the one guy you look at in their lineup. They have some really good players. Jarren Duran's a really good player. They have that rookie that they have is really good as well. They have some good players, but you can't throw that guy knee-high fastballs on the outer third. He's going to destroy you, and he did. I love watching him play. I love watching him hit. I love everything about him. I just wish he didn't do it against us yesterday. So that one kind of bugged me there. You almost kind of felt it was gonna happen. But the thing I think that made me the most insane, and you guys probably know what it is the 5th. Jackson Merrill gets on, another knock for Jackson Merrill.
3 more hits yesterday.
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Hi, Jackson.
What a weekend.
You are a stud. We're going to get into your return to your favorite ballpark. But holy smokes, man, when Jackson gets on and there's nobody out, and Ha-Seong Kim comes up and just lays down a sac bunt, I was like, you're down 3 at that point. It's in the 5th inning. And Kimmy's been swinging a little bit better, but that you can't give up an out there. The sacrifice, and that's what it was. It was a sack bunt. They went down as a sack bunt. I don't think he was trying to bunt for a hit. He was giving himself up in that situation. Playing for 1 run when you're down 3 made me nuts. I mean, me
and
nuts.
my son had a great point. He goes, Kyle Higashioka is the next batter.
Right.
He's all or nothing.
Correct. Yeah, and then you know who's after him?
The guy hits like no singles.
You know who's after him? Bryce Johnson.
So
is that his name? Bryce Johnson? He's next.
What
so,
are you trying
swing
to put
away,
a runner
bro.
on second base for a guy who has had like 5 singles all year? Guy's hitting home runs. He can be on first base.
Yeah,
and
could get a 3-run homer.
Kyle Higashioka can drive him home just as easily. Just not getting singles out of that guy. So
one of those
you're
kind
absolutely right, Woods. A sacrifice bunt makes almost 0 sense in that situation. And Ha-Seong Kim has been hitting better lately. He's hitting over 300 this month. Has started to heat up, and to give up an out and an at bat there turned out to be an inning in which the Padres did not score again.
Yep.
Didn't make a lot of sense.
No, you're not tied. You're not trying to scratch across a run against a really great pitcher. I mean, you're putting the ball in play against that guy. It just didn't make any sense. Of course, Kimmy comes up, rips one down the line in his next AB, and I'm like, oh, man, it's just one of those kind of brain farts. Maybe he wasn't comfortable, wasn't seeing it very well, thought, what can I do to help the team? I understand all that. I do. And I very much don't think it was called from the bench. I think that was a player decision. I'm going to lay one down here, get the guy over, and see if we can get something going. But, again, like I've told you guys before, I am not averse to bunting for a hit or anything like that, squeezes, stuff like that, no problem, man. But down 3 in the 5th inning with no one who's up behind you, you got to have a little more situational awareness there if you're Ha-Seong Kim. And I hated that bunt. Other than that, hey, listen, great series.
And Winkowski was good, just because you hadn't heard of him before.
Yeah, he's good.
Thought he pitched better than the first 2 guys for the Red Sox in that series for sure. 5 innings, 4 hits, no runs. Padres didn't strike out much. He only had 1 strikeout. I think they struck out 4 times the whole game. They put the ball in play just like they did the other games. It just, wasn't finding the holes. Ground balls, right to guys with runners on for double plays. And that was the difference in the game yesterday. As Mike Schilt did point out, bullpen looked good. I think they ended the series with more than 11 straight scoreless innings.
That's great.
Which was nice to see from a bullpen that's had its ups and downs over the course of the year. So, a positive you can take out there, in addition to, of course, a series victory for the San Diego Padres. Now, do we have that NESN Matt Waldron audio, Pauly? So I wasn't sure whether this was a media kind of generated story. I knew that Matt Waldron had spoken with Tim Wakefield.
They're friendly with, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like a Zoom call. But I didn't know, okay, is this just a cool storyline because he's coming back? Or is this something that really means...
He sent over the post, and my initial reaction was, get over yourselves, Boston.
Was this something that really meant a lot to Matt Waldron to go back to Boston?
Yes.
Where Tim Wakefield... And honestly, apparently it did. It meant quite a bit to him because after the game, he was pretty upset. This is from NESN TV. Red Sox postgame in the Padres clubhouse with Matt Waldron talking about being at Fenway Park where Tim Wakefield, the knuckleballer, had pitched.
I know that Wakefield's towed that rubber, and it was you could feel it, but yeah, it was tough.
Did you take a moment to appreciate that while you're out there?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I got to get a job done, so, and that just didn't happen.
Were you approached by anybody pregame who yelled something out or said something that conjured Tim Wakefield in some fashion?
No, I think just the pitch in general was admired and it got the respect it deserved, so.
Sweet angel, man.
I mean, yeah, got some glassy eyes a little bit there.
Yeah.
Clearly emotional, but it was the post that you sent over from NESN. Padres starter Matt Waldron threw a knuckleball to start the game in honor of Tim Wakefield. He's a knuckleball thrower. He throws a knuckleball.
He does.
All the time.
I'm going to choose to believe it. I like stories like that.
I'm going to choose to believe the Boston media doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
I also like...
If Robert Suarez opens the 9th with a knuckleball in honor of Tim Wakefield, his favorite pitcher growing up...
If it was Michael King...
That would be weird.
That'd be weird.
That would be
but
special.
But also cool. Yeah.
Yes, special.
But I thought, listen, I thought it was a nice moment.
I thought it was...
He was very, very emotional about it.
Yeah, it was real and it was genuine, and that relationship meant something to Matt Waldron, and it meant something for him to be there at Fenway Park. But like I said, that's not necessarily the best thing for a pitcher, especially a knuckleballer who sometimes has to control their emotions a little bit more than, if you're trying to throw 100, a little extra emotion
Little juice.
can't necessarily hurt you. When you're trying to throw a knuckleball, a little extra adrenaline or emotion can actually be a bad thing for a pitcher.
No, but he was fine. I mean, he was fine. We didn't get the big hit. He was fine. Shortest outing in a while for Matt Waldron.
Yeah, he scored 9 or 11 runs like he did the first 2 days, and
No problem.
4 runs and 4+ innings. You're going, not his best, but certainly plenty fine for what we needed.
Yeah,
just didn't get the offense that they were looking for in yesterday's game. So, Matt Waldron, guessing will be just fine moving forward. The question is what the Padres are going to do with their pitching rotation now going forward. Mike Shildt was specifically asked after the game. They did not release a starting pitcher for tomorrow's game, and Mike Shildt was asked about it, and he said, we'll tell you later. They have not. They're being very careful. It would be Adam Mazur's turn in the rotation. And the fact that they're unwilling to say that he's pitching tomorrow would lead me to believe that they are probably going to reorganize their rotation a little bit, either move someone up a day or
which would be
start someone else. I think Dylan Cease would have his turn then moved up a day with 2 off days between. We made the point last week. You can start Cease not only on regular rest, still on an extra day of rest if he goes in the series opener tomorrow and just skip over Adam Mazur. Now, with Randy Vasquez taking a line drive off the elbow.
God, I thought he was done.
They said he's okay.
Dude, him crying, walking off
was
the
that
mound?
was his throwing arm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I thought it was broken. The
I
way
was
he
very-
kind of crumpled.
I was very worried
Oh,
with his
my
reaction.
God.
And imaging was negative, not broken, just a contusion. There's talk that he might be able to just take his normal turn, but at the same time, now you're worried about another guy who may not be 100%. Lots of starting pitching injuries for the San Diego Padres. And if you move guys up, then all of a sudden you could have to pay for it on the back end if you have multiple guys who aren't available.
I mean, I'm certainly not averse to giving him a little bit more rest, to make sure that there's nothing deeper in there. I mean, so if you could go, we'll talk about what it potentially could look like. But yeah, they're up against it, like most teams are right now, man. There's a lot of teams battered going into the break. So just got to figure out a way to navigate these next few games before the All-Star break.
We'll come back, play some Take on Woods, go over the fun 11-1 win on Saturday night at Fenway Park with Michael King on the mound. All coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. All right, little update. We were just talking about the Padres' potential future starting rotation. This from the UT newsletter this morning. Kevin Acey writes, it sure seems Dylan Cease will move up a day to start Tuesday. Last pitch Wednesday in San Diego through his in-between bullpen on Saturday. He'd be moving up but still going on 5 days rest. Now, Mike Schilt said, we're not going to skip anybody. We just may reconfigure it a little bit. And then Adam Major, whose turn would normally be on Tuesday, also threw a bullpen on Saturday. He seems like he's the only option for Wednesday. So it may just be a flip-flop between Cease and Major, which doesn't feel like it does a ton. Maybe on the back end before the All-Star break, it gets Dylan Cease one more start as opposed to Adam Major in the end, which there's a value to that, getting your, more ace pitcher on the mound as opposed to the rookie one extra time over the course of a season. But other than that, it doesn't sound like any major changes coming in the Padres starting rotation.
Any major
changes.
That's right. So you go in Texas, Cease, Major, Vasquez is what we're looking at?
At this point, yes. And Vasquez threw a bullpen. Seems like he feels okay after getting hit by the line drive. So that's probably where they're headed, but they have not made any official announcements.
Could use another arm or three, I'd say.
Yeah, remember, this all changes if A.J. Preller decides to make some sort of trade at some point as well.
And what is the latest update on Yu Darvish? Still inflammation in the elbow?
Yeah, Dennis Lin wrote in The Athletic that, he got imaging. There's no structural damage in the elbow. He started throwing again, but just remains a question mark as to when he is going to return. We know Joe is not going to come back until at least the end of July. They put him on the 60-day, which doesn't really change much. That was always his timeline. It really just gives them an extra 40-man roster spot, and he continues with his, progression like he was expected. But I don't think even inside the Padres clubhouse, inside the medical room, they're 100% confident that Joe is definitely coming back. They're like, if everything goes right, yes, Joe can come back at the start of August, very end of July. But if he has any more setbacks, he's probably headed toward maybe season-ending surgery. And you're just kind of crossing your fingers that nothing else happens between now and the end of the year, that Joe can actually make some starts. But I would say no one even in that building is counting on ever seeing Joe Musgrove this season again. They're just hoping that maybe they will. And that'll be just an added bonus if they've got a couple months of Joe Musgrove left.
I mean, hell, it'll take a couple weeks at this point. You know what I mean? It's just been kind of a lost season for him. And then some sobering news from Dennis Lin in The Athletic as well, talking about Fernando Tatis Jr., saying he could miss much of the second half. Dennis, I guess, talked to a doctor that's pretty familiar with this. Not his doctor per se, but essentially since these are the type of injuries I tell people it's difficult to have as a patient, difficult to treat because it's out of our hands. We got to wait and see how your body responds. It can be 4 weeks. It could be 20 weeks. It just depends. Now, Tatis is young. The younger you are, the easier you recover, but he's got to be doing the right things in his recovery. Said that he should make 100% recovery. Said that these are rare for baseball players. But, yeah, an injury that's often picked up a little bit later. It presents as a muscle strain often. He's not the profile of an athlete that would typically get it. So,
a late July comeback likely would be optimistic.
Okay.
That is from Dr. Timothy Gibson, a board-certified orthopedic surgeon at Memorial Care Orange Coast Medical Center in Fountain Valley.
It sounds like the danger is that basically he says, all right, if you're pain-free for 2 weeks, then you need to wait another 2 weeks after that
to make sure
to really start going again. And I'd imagine that's going to be tough for Tatis. If he's after 2 weeks, he's going, I feel great. I want to start playing again. Doctors are going to go, okay, now your clock is ticking for another 2 weeks before you can start doing anything. Which means, though, if you're pain-free for 4 weeks, then you got to wait another 4 weeks.
So
after
you're just
that.
waiting the rest of your life, essentially.
So, it's the patience that's probably going to be the hard part for Tatis going forward.
Yeah.
They played well without him.
They have.
Feels like, I don't think that's why. So, subbing Fernando Tatis Jr. for Bryce Johnson immediately would be one of the biggest upgrades you could possibly make in baseball right now without any trade deadline deals at all.
Yes.
Well, they can get hot. They could even make the playoffs without Fernando Tatis Jr. But the Padres will never reach the ultimate mountaintop, their goal, without Fernando Tatis Jr.
If
2022 didn't show you that, I don't know what will.
Yeah, when he's going right.
I think he would have helped you're 3 games away from the World Series. You think he might have maybe made a difference?
But again, when I look at that and I look at every, playoff failure in the last few years, Paulie, what comes back to me is pitching. Pitching. You can, by the way, win a World Series with Bryce Johnson as your starting right fielder. You can. It's been done. I mean, it is.
He could be the World Series MVP.
It has absolutely been done. There is a Bryce Johnson or David Peralta on every single freaking team. Eddie
Bryce
Rosario.
Johnson could end up the National League Championship Series most valuable
No
player. It's
question.
baseball. It's weird.
It's weird, and guys step up. For me, what we need to be living and dying with right now is the guy that takes the ball every 5th day. And you're just with a beaten up Randy Vasquez and a Johnny Brito, you're trying to stretch out to be a starter, and a Matt Waldron and a Dylan Cease and a banged up Joe.
Michael King, more innings than he's ever thrown.
You gotta really focus on getting some arms here if you're AJ Preller, and I'm sure he is, along with 15 other teams right now, all making calls. I did see the Dodgers have already lowballed the Chicago White Sox for Garrett Crochet. They have denied that offer. The White Sox also tried to extend Garrett Crochet as well, and he denied it. It probably wasn't a very good deal. And so, yeah, man, the arms race is about to heat up tremendously, and we are in desperate need of a couple of them.
Before we do anything else, let's throw up the phone lines. A contestant for Take on Woods. And Paulie reminds me we got a new month, so we got a brand new Vegas getaway I will tell you about momentarily. But if you qualified last month, you need to qualify again here in July for the grand prize drawing. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. Get ready to take on Woods in our musical trivia challenge coming up here in a couple of minutes. 833-288-0973. New prize here in the month of July. Saturday night's game, I thought, was the best overall performance by the Padres of the series. And talking about needing pitching, well, one thing the Padres have gotten, both Michael King, Dylan Cease, last couple of starts, really stepping up. King has been solid. Dylan Cease has been up and down. But Saturday, King was really good. 6 innings, 5 innings, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and got plenty of offensive support. Had the 1 big inning, but also I think they scored in 4 other innings on their way to 11 runs. And so nice to see Manny Machado with the Manny Machado-like game of 2 home runs, being the dangerous batter that strikes fear into the hearts of opposing pitchers. Manny has had a really good month of June, but that felt like the first game where he really was the ultimate dangerous Manny when he stepped into the box, and that was fun to see.
Yeah, really, really fun to see. Nice to see him back swinging the bat well and trending in the right direction, certainly, because we need him. We absolutely need him to be at his best, and he's got to kind of put the team on his back a little bit with Nando being out and Xander coming back and all that. I mean, there's still a pretty good player in there for Manny Machado. So I was obviously very pleased to see how well he played this weekend.
And then, of course, Jackson Merrill continuing his torrid tear on Saturday, going 3 for 5 with his 12th home run of the season.
Unbelievable.
Driving the ball just to all parts of the ballpark. I really didn't think that Jackson Merrill was going to be a candidate for the All-Star game. Now it's almost going to be a crime if he doesn't go.
100%.
He's not going to be voted in. He's not one of the finalists in the National League of Outfielders for the final 6, but that doesn't mean you can't go. There's still the player vote. There's still the manager selections that could be made. And when you look at the other outfielders in the National League, if you're just going by who's had the best first half of the season, Jackson Merrill absolutely will deserve to be at least a member of the National League All-Star team.
Yep.
Just based on who he's going up against. Will he be there? I don't know, but
not going to be a starter, but he absolutely belongs there in Arlington. Absolutely belongs there.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is just
staggering.
Awesome, but crazy.
Staggering. Yeah, it's incredible.
The conversations that we were having in January, February, March. What are we going to do? We're going to throw a shortstop out there and just have him learn on the fly?
Throwing him out there. It's just crazy.
Unbelievable.
It's just crazy, man. Crazy. So, I mean, he was a monster this weekend. A monster, a menace. What was the home run to his mom? Was that Friday night?
That was Fridays.
One of the cooler moments you'll see. And then they interviewed his mom the next day talking about, how much Jackson loved the Red Sox when he was a kid and getting to come in there and have the series that he had. I mean, what did he go this series? It was just unreal.
It's seven hits, I think.
7 for 14, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBI, a 1571 OPS. Come on. 500.
She was talking about how her seats that he got her were up on the Monster.
Yeah.
And, it's nearby. They used to travel to Fenway Park all the time. So they had some friends sitting out in center field. She's like, oh, yeah, I'll pop over for, 30 minutes or so, watch a couple innings with you guys. And then she goes, okay, when Jackson, I'm going to wait here, watch his next at-bat, and then I got to go back to our seats. And sure enough, that's the at-bat that you see the ball 20 feet away from her, and she's like pointing up at it. It was so cool.
Just what an incredible moment.
Mom, I'm trying to hit a home run to you. Stop moving all
stop
around
moving
the
around.
ball. I need to know where you are.
He said he could hear her laughing while he was playing center field.
It's the best, dude. The best. What a kid. What a kid he is, man. A favorite already among so many Padres fans, and for good reason. Plays the game hard, plays the game the right way, loves his teammates. Again, for him and Manny, first guy's over the top every single time anybody does anything. It's really cool.
I'm kind of holding my breath.
I know.
Like he's perfect.
Perfect ball player right now.
I love him.
He's like perfect. I mean, not that there isn't some room for improvement. He's 21 years old, but essentially, he's everything you could possibly have hoped for with attitude, production, just the way he is embraced.
If you created a rookie center fielder in a lab, it's him.
No, I told you I ran into Tim Flannery over the weekend. I was talking to him, and it's the first name he brought up. And he goes, I was in awe of that home run he hit to dead center field, as we all were last week or whenever it was. And he goes, it's just such a hard position to learn. He said, shortstops can play anywhere. We all say that, and we all believe it. He said, but to learn it on the fly at the big league level and the adjustments that he made so quickly on the fly, playing a new position, he goes, I love the kid. He's just an unbelievable top player.
This is Jackson Merrill.
I mean, he's hitting against lefties. He's hitting against righties. He's going
Well,
power. He's going
you know what he said, too?
other way. He's doing it all.
We talked about how sometimes a guy can get a home run stroke for a couple days. It's the worst thing that ever happened to him. And he goes, but watch him. He still takes his singles, and if he gets one to drive, he drives it. And it's just,
the head on his shoulders is ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah.
All right. We'll have more Jackson Merrill talk coming up. Right now, though, let's play today's game. It's time for the Monday edition of Take on Woods. All right, Chad is first up. Chance to qualify for our brand new Las Vegas getaway. How about this one? We've got a trip to the Rio, Las Vegas, 2-night stay, dinner for two, and a day bed at the Rio pool. The Rio Las Vegas is back. New ownership, newly remodeled rooms, 4 sparkling new pools, and a brand new food hall all ready for you now. Your next Vegas escape beyond the expected, beyond the strip, beyond your wildest dreams. Rio Las Vegas, the rhythm of Vegas. Book now at RioLasVegas.com. Chad, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. All right, Woods is gone. You get to go first. You get the choice of 3 categories for our 5 questions of musical trivia. We got Keep the Change, song titles and artists that include a type of coin. You're Making Me Crazy, 5 song titles that include the word crazy. And our new category, Give 'em a Hand, 5 song titles that include the word hand. So Keep the Change, You're Making Me Crazy, or Give 'em a Hand, Chad. What would you like?
Let's do Making Me Crazy.
You're Making Me Crazy. First, let me remind everybody, Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. All right, I got the 5 questions in front of me. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can come back to it if there's time left on the clock of the 60 seconds. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie is queuing it up right now. Play you a little music. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. And remember, the category, You're Making Me Crazy, song titles including the word crazy. Chad, are you ready to go?
Ready. Let's do this.
Paul, you good? All right, he's queued up. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck, Chad. Let's take on Woods.
That's Crazy for You by Heart.
Crazy on You, I'll give it to you. Prince gives a eulogy for this thing called life over funeral-like organ music at the beginning of which 1984 hit?
Pass.
Ozzy Osbourne was all aboard for which 1980 debut solo release?
Crazy Train.
Correct. Fine Young Cannibals topped the U.S. charts twice in the late 80s with Good Thing, and which other successful single from their album The Raw and the Cooked?
She drives me crazy.
Correct. With music written by Freddie Mercury in about 5 to 10 minutes, which late 1979 release became the first #1 hit in the U.S. for Queen.
Pass, let's go to the next one first.
Prince gives a eulogy for this thing called life over funeral-like organ music at the beginning of which 1984 hit.
Let's go to the next one. Sorry.
With music written by Freddie Mercury in about 5 to 10 minutes, which late 19... Time ran out. You're going well there. You got 3. Got Crazy on You by Heart, Crazy Train, and She Drives Me Crazy. Let's Go Crazy by Prince. And Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen are the 2 you didn't get. Will that prevent you from qualifying for Las Vegas, though? Methinks it might. We'll see as our champ comes in. Woods, always ready to defend his crown. He doesn't get the category, makes it a little more difficult. Chad's score is locked in. Let's reset everything. 60 seconds on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Chad.
Crazy on You, Heart.
Correct. Prince gives a eulogy for this thing called life over...
Let's Go Crazy.
Correct. Ozzy Osbourne was all
Crazy
aboard.
Train.
Correct. Fine Young Cannibals topped the U.S. charts.
She Drives Me Crazy.
Correct. With music written by Freddie Mercury in about 5 to 10 minutes, which late 1979 release became...
Stone Cold Crazy.
No!
Oh!
That would have been an all-timer.
That was fast. It is a win, 4-3. Crazy little thing called
Crazy
love.
little thing called love.
But the category you're making the crazy goes to Woods today.
I like pretty much all those
Very
songs.
fast.
Except for...
You may have...
drives me crazy.
Like
No one can help.
It's horrid. Got a birthday shout out. 28 years old today, Jacob. I just got a DM from his missus. Well, I guess I'm the birthday shout out guy now. This is my bit, my lot in life.
Do it in your Boomer Esiason voice.
Hey, real happy birthday. Want to wish a happy birthday to Jacob. Turning 28 today. Victoria sent us a message and said you're a huge fan. So, happy birthday to you, Jacob. 28 years old today.
I'm Boomer Esiason.
I'm Boomer Esiason.
We've got Don't Do This coming up next. Woods has like announcers in his site, writers in his site. I don't even know. You have too many Don't Do Thises for a weekend to get to all of them, I think.
Boy, those Dodger fans, those Dodger beat reporters, you guys are unbelievable.
All right, that
should be embarrassed.
It's coming up next with Ben Woods after traffic here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Speaking of liking a Nickelback song or two, Paulie was talking about that Nickelback documentary. Wasn't that over the weekend?
I watched
watching
it.
that one.
Yeah, we talked about it several months ago when it was announced. Just got released on Netflix like in the last week.
I can't wait. I did not watch it yesterday. I promised you I would. I didn't.
You watch it. We got no game tonight.
Okay. Yeah, it
Watch
gives me
it
something
tonight.
to do.
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right.
You're going to love it.
Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt I will.
And I posted about it on Instagram, and I had 30 people reach out. Bunch of, don't do this, and then a bunch of people going, I feel so validated right now.
Yeah.
And
That'll be one of them.
I left it going, I didn't know I liked Nickelback.
The bad rap that those guys have got.
They got hosed.
Yeah. Well, this fan base thinks that they get hosed constantly. I'm talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers. And saw a tweet over the weekend from one of their beat writers named Bill Plunkett. Bill got rightfully dragged on Twitter. Holy smokes, man. Says Spencer Bivens just won the World Series, or appeared to, based on his celebration reaction after striking out Shohei Ohtani for the second time today. And listen, so Mookie did the press conference. Oh, yeah, when everybody plays us, it's going to be their World Series. Yeah, man, like when you spend $1 billion in the offseason, you've won the West, perennially for many, many years. You do know teams are going to be gunning for you. You know that, right? Like the Padres spent some money last year. Everyone was gunning for us as well. That's the nature of it. But this guy's tweet, I don't think he really understood the context of what Spencer Bivens had been through. Spencer Bivens, his career started in France. He was paid only in cash, and games were only on the weekends. He pitched for 4 different independent ball teams. He's been in San Francisco's system since 2022. He's a 30-year-old rookie and got called up to start against the mighty Los Angeles Dodgers and pitched very, very well. Again, punching out Shohei twice. Gave it all he did was walk off the mound and give it the fist pump. And
it was an enthusiastic fist pump.
Absolutely, as it should be.
It's like Tiger making the putt on the 18th green at Torrey Pines fist
But
pump.
again, you're talking about a team, across the way there, the Dodgers. They get a single and they stand at first and they dance and they, I mean, look, it's okay to show emotion and it's okay that other teams have good players too. And I think Dodger fans are missing that point. Like, if you're going to be the Empire, be it all the way. Don't get butthurt when people celebrate against you. Because we all saw Jason Hayward hit a ball that I think put them up. They were already up 3, and I think this put them up 5, and he slides into third, and he's like, yeah! Like, nothing wrong with it. Again, the taking exception to people celebrating against you is pretty weak.
Well, we saw the Washington Nationals when they were here taking exception with Jurix and Profar. But I think what everybody needs to understand is that every celebration in baseball comes at the expense of another team.
Absolutely.
No matter what it's directed at or not, if another team is celebrating, it's because you failed. So it is coming at your expense. So either there's never any celebration allowed, or we really just have to allow all celebration of good plays.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
And when it comes down to that, obviously you want baseball players to be able to show emotion and celebrate.
I mean, especially a guy that, is 30 years old and strikes out Shohei Ohtani twice. You best believe I would have been doing a helicopter off the mound, walking back into the dugout.
Otherwise, we're trying to come up with very convoluted rules about when it's okay to celebrate and when it's not, that no one will ever agree on. So let's just agree on, you do something good, you celebrate it, it's fine. And then understand when the other team does something good, they get to celebrate it as well. And you don't get to be offended by it. Either way.
So weird. So weird.
By the way, Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. Craft Taco is some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. Woods was so fired up for all of his Don't Do This options that I said, I'll help you out with one that I know caught your attention this weekend from the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit.
Should have caught everybody's attention, including, like, the police.
It's actually it's a good doo-doo, this story. A 15-year-old Miles Russell got a sponsor's exemption to make his PGA Tour debut. Already made the cut on a Korn Ferry Tour event this year. Came out, played pretty well, didn't make the cut, but shot 74-70. Not anything embarrassing at all. And as a 15-year-old, competing against, grown PGA Tour players. In fact, They gave him a courtesy car, which he couldn't drive because he doesn't have his license. His dad had to drive it. They took a picture. The locker room at Detroit Golf Club says only 16 and older allowed.
Oh my God.
So he had to get special permission to actually go into the locker room because he wasn't 16 yet. But he did a great job. Now, afterwards in the press conference, do we have the audio?
Yes.
What's the unusual line of questioning from one of the reporters of this 15-year-old after his round?
You're the only player in the field that if you click on your profile on the PGA Tour app, height and weight is not listed. So what is your current height and weight?
I think my height's probably 5'7", and weight's maybe 120.
Okay. What's that waist size?
What?
It's right there on the 28.
What's that?
Did he say, what's that waist size?
What's that waist size? Oh. Your voice, did they, have they dropped yet? Or?
So I'm assuming that this is...
What is the need for that question?
Well, I'm assuming that this was Brendan Quinn, who covers the PGA Tour for The Athletic, because here was his story on Miles Russell.
A very tiny waisted
Here's his lead. It's Miles Russell's pants don't fit. He didn't mean to show off his ankles during Thursday's first round of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. It's just the inseam he was measured for recently no longer applies. He hit a growth spurt soon after, now measures 5'7", but stuck with pants meant for a wee 5'6". His waist, meanwhile, remains near non-existent.
Who cares?
At 120 pounds, he wears a 28-inch waistline with a scrunched belt. He's trying to make the point that he looks...
We're good on it.
He doesn't look like the other PGA Tour
we know
players
that. You know how
out
we
there.
know that? There's an infallible way to know that. He's 15 years old.
Yes.
His pants are way short. It left the... You could see his ripped abs through his shirt. I mean, come on, dude. That voice and... what's that waist size? Bro, I would have beaten the... if I was the dad, I'm like, hey, we need to have a serious conversation here after that. I do
He
watch...
still has to shop in the children's section because
that waist size.
he's still a child.
Well, and listen, this is probably a me thing, but I do spend the majority of my weekend watching pedophiles get their ass kicked on Twitter. It's like this new thing, and as a father of two boys that's terrified of it, Hannah's like, you watching another video? I'm like, yes, I am, and I'll continue to do it. There's like all these groups. Have you seen these? There's like all these groups that are out there like entrapping people, which fine by me.
Yeah.
And they're catching them and... slapping them.
How can I help?
Yeah.
Do you guys need funding?
Where do I sign? Yeah, do you need funding? Number one, do you need anybody on weekends? If I can get away, I would love to come help you because that is a problem. It was a very, very creepy, weird question. And again, you can write a story about the kid being young with what's that waist size? Imagine asking anybody that.
It's really weird.
What's your waist size? What?
I'm a 36.
Really?
Yeah. Have been forever. I was a 34 forever. Now I'm a 36. What are you?
Well, I was a 40, and now I'm probably 36 to 38.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a 36.
Team 36.
Team 36.
Men in Woods.
The 36 that does allow for a little bit of the hangover. I got a little finally.
Do you have to suck it in when you button the button?
No,
or
they
not?
fit. They fit nice. There's it's not tight. I do wear a lot of athleisure, but on my button pants, they still feel pretty nice. Let's move on. It was a creepy story. So
what do you have for doo-doo this?
Yeah, let me see those toes.
DD mega doo-doo.
All right, so our beloved Don Orsillo,
This is a hybrid. Don't do this.
This is a hybrid.
Do
Yes,
this.
so this came out this morning, and it leads into what I wanted to talk about for due to this. Obviously, a very emotional return home for Don Orsillo. Spent many, many years calling games, winning World Series with the Boston Red Sox. You know there's something there, right? I mean, there's definitely a piece of his heart was left in Boston. So this morning, I want to thank our buddy, because I did not have this 30 seconds ago. Our buddy, Sam, SD Fireman Sam, said, dude, something about getting your teeth kicked in makes you say some wild stuff at Jared Carabas. The irony here in talking about an ex. There's zero chance under any circumstance Don Orsillo ever leaves SD. Thanks for him, though. Listen to what Carabas said.
This is the Section 10
Section 10 podcast.
I felt for Don, but he at least had a lot of fun on Saturday, that's for sure.
I kind of felt worse for the Padres because he clearly doesn't give a about the Padres like at all.
You don't think so? What do you mean? What do you mean?
The way he's still talking, like He did. I mean, San Diego doesn't have any other teams, but like the way he was still talking about Boston, I'm not telling him to get over it because we're not over.
Oh, they're talking about an X type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like if he were offered the job tomorrow, I think he's leaving San Diego.
Okay, so here's what Don Orsillo had to say about his tenure in Boston over the weekend. I believe when you're fired from a team, you lose your allegiance to that team, as far as caring whether they win or lose. That was part of the deal. If I'm out, so are they. I can't be a fan of someone who's not a fan of mine. You're going to like someone who despises you or replaces you? I couldn't do it. My allegiance had to end, especially when I went to another franchise where I am now invested. That fandom ended. Now, my love for the Bruins, Celtics, and Patriots has not changed. They didn't fire me. I think Jared Kravis, who's 5'3", probably is a bit misguided here. I can almost promise you with 100% certainty if the Red Sox called today and said, Don, we messed up, Don, come home, he would probably tell them to eat ass.
Oh, I think so. I think he has...
I also think if the Red Sox swept the Padres this weekend, Jared Kravis would be like, man, how great was it to have Don Orsillo back in Boston for 3 days?
Yeah.
How we missed that guy. He's butthurt.
Yeah, he's 5'3".
I think Don still has love for the city of Boston.
Oh,
He went to school there in Northeastern and even Fenway Park, but the Red Sox organization, he has soured on that part of it.
As he should.
They let him go. It was a huge mistake.
Massive.
Huge
I saw on
mistake.
that Reddit thread that I sent you with that quote from Orsillo. You read the comments, bro. Red Sox fans are losing their minds.
They're
like,
so mad.
Wait, we fired Don?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you did. You did. And Don's got a long memory, as he should, as he absolutely should. He was the heart and soul of that. Him and Jerry Remy together were a legendary combo. Legendary. And you let that dude get away? Wow. Along with Mookie Betts and Babe Ruth? Well done. Well done.
Not all at the same time, but...
Well, still.
And that's Don't and Do This for a Monday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Friday's fifth inning might have been one of the most spectacular, fun, enjoyable 9 straight batters I've ever seen in my life for the San Diego Padres. We'll continue our discussion of the weekend that was in Boston at Fenway Park when we come back with more Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. Remember this last baseball offseason, Woods, when many of the top free agents didn't sign until well into spring training?
Yeah,
Boris
man.
clients took forever. Months and months of speculation. The NBA is the exact opposite. I mean, they cannot get to free agency any faster. Yesterday was like the start of just the negotiating window, and already there's 40 moves this morning in the NBA. Big names going all over the place. James Harden re-signing with the Clippers. Paul George is now going to the 76ers. Warriors waive Chris Paul. He's going to the Spurs. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Magic, leaving the Nuggets. Sounds like Klay Thompson is leaving the Warriors, too. Could go to the Mavs or the Lakers in a sign-and-trade. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They do their free agency.
It's fun.
And they pretty much get it done.
That's
Give
fun.
it 2,
I like
3
that.
days. Everyone will be signed.
If you don't sign in 4 days.
It's because you have no value anymore. It's like your career is over. They have judged you unworthy to be in the NBA anymore if you haven't signed in the first 4 days.
That is fun. That's the right way to do it. I wish I gave a frog's fat ass about the NBA. I'd be all excited today. I don't, so I'm like, you guys could fill me in. But yeah, the baseball offseason it's excruciating. It's like a 3-month, 6-month root canal. You're just laying there going, somebody sign somebody. Everyone's so afraid of making the first big move, or should we, are we overpaying for this guy? I mean, there's 2 guys, Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. They got to be kicking themselves every single day for listening to Scott Boras. They have to. They've had terrible years.
I would think guys like Woj and Shams get no sleep for 3 or 4 days because they're reporting things at 1 a.m. But it's got to be better. Jeff Passan basically has to be on alert for 5 months for big baseball news, because it could happen in November, it could happen in December, January. Can we just get it all done with like the NBA does in
Woj
3 days?
I got 4 days in July that I need to work. After that,
we're pretty good
for
for
a
a few
vacation.
months.
The
Yeah.
guy's literally in Hawaii next week. Just, all right, I'm done for a while.
See you guys in October.
No, that's great. I mean, that's the best way to do it. We kicked it around in here, some ideas of how you can make it better. And, there was that deadline date that we talked about, but I don't know that that's necessarily fair or the right way to do it. But, deadlines spur reaction and action. And it's just something that baseball's been missing. You've got so many people, Benny, in my opinion, I think, sitting in a room, potentially overthinking some things after a while. Why does this 34-year-old get a deal, but this 33-year-old that had a great, I'm talking about Brandon Belt. He had a great year last year. Is he playing baseball anymore? Is he on a team? Has anyone signed Brandon Belt, who had a pretty good year last year? And it's just a weird how it goes sometimes. And look, we don't know the whole story. Maybe he got an offer that it was a turd, and he's like, I'm not signing that. We never know. But I just know that every year it's so excruciating. It's excruciating.
Well, and you've seen the damage it's done.
You absolutely are seeing it in real time.
To players who didn't get a spring training. Blake Snell's certainly the prototypical example. We knew he was going to struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Just based on how this offseason went. But Jordan
Montgomery, I did not expect that from him. I really didn't. And he has scuffled badly. So, yeah, I don't know what you do, but I do know that, man, it certainly would be. You always put yourself in these guys' shoes. I want to know where I'm playing. I want to know where I'm playing. I want to know. I need to rent a house. I need to get everything dialed in. This waiting weeks into spring training would be excruciating for me personally. And I think most of us in this room, it would kill us.
We talked a little bit about Jackson Merrill earlier. Where would the Padres be without him? What about Kyle Higashioka as well? We will get to that in Friday's game right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Still clearing a couple of crashes along the 15 in the North County. One of them is on the northbound side, the west on 78. Those vehicles are over the right shoulder. And got this crash over the right shoulder on southbound 15 at Center City Parkway. Elsewhere around the county, stalled car in the slow lane, northbound side of the 805, just before 43rd. And watch out for some debris reported on the Massachusetts Avenue on-ramp to eastbound King Freeway. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And baseball coverage at 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find how at T-Mobile.com/switch. So what a month of June it was for Kyle Higashioka, who hit 8 home runs in less than 50 at-bats in the month of June, more than any other catcher in 1 month in Padres history. And he wasn't even a full-time player until the middle of the month when Luis Campusano went on the injured list. That's the kind of month it was for Kyle Higashioka. And they had that stat up when he hit the home run on Friday. Padres catchers have hit more home runs as catchers than I think any other team in baseball, because some use them as designated hitters on days they're not catching. But when actually catching and hitting home runs, Padres now have the most. They got another one from Brett Sullivan over the weekend as well.
Yeah.
It's been an unexpected bounty from behind the plate in terms of power, and most of it, of course, has been from Kyle Higashioka.
It's been amazing to see. It's been so much fun to see. And, listen, getting an opportunity and stepping up the way that he has, it's not going to last forever. It's not. But, you hope that you can ride it out and that he contributes by throwing guys out. I mean, if you're not hitting, you can play good defense. And he's done that. He's throwing guys out at a really nice clip, way better than Campy had. Now, Campy, I think the update on him is he's pretty much ready at this point.
Rehab assignment in Lake Elsinore tonight. Yep.
Okay.
And then probably tomorrow. And then after that, they will evaluate and see if he returns.
Yeah. So that means Sully probably goes down again, but made the most of his opportunity up in Boston this weekend. That was a lot of fun watching him wrap one around the pesky pole. But it was great. It was great. But yeah, you don't know how long this is going to take. I mean, this is a big one for Luis Campusano. I mean, it really is a big moment for him. I know he's been banged up. I know he's been injured. But I mean, you got to think Gary Sanchez last year came in, kind of snatched it away from him. Kyle Higashioka's come in. Alfaro has been there as well. So you don't want to be the guy that continuously loses his job, whether it's to injury or non-performance at all. So this is a big stint back with the club.
We talked about it last week, though. Even when Campy comes back, Higashioka needs more playing time than he's got before.
Yeah,
it was basically 60-40 for Campy. It's got to swing the other way, at least for the time being.
Yeah, and you got to make the most of your opportunities for both of those guys, because frankly, I mean, you're going to need both of these guys to contribute down the stretch. So we need them now. We need it with Tatis being out. We need to have a force down there at the bottom of the lineup, a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And Higgy has been phenomenal. Really, really, you literally couldn't ask for anything more from him.
Friday's game. I don't know that I remember a game turning on such a dime like Friday's did. It was a real pitcher's duel between a surprising one between Nick Pivetta and Randy Vasquez. Scoreless for the first 3.5 innings. Boston broke through with the 1 run in the bottom of the 4th, but you're thinking, all right, Potter's going to have to find a way to win this one 3-2, 2-1. And then all of a sudden, the 5th inning starts.
With Higgy.
He hits the
2-run bomb.
2-run bomb. So
2-1.
Ha-Seong Kim gets on, and then Higgy homers, and then no one makes an out. I mean, 9 straight guys all the way through the order, everybody reaching, capped with Jackson Merrill's 3-run home run to center field to his mom sitting out there. 9 up, 9 in for the San Diego Padres. It was the inning that encapsulates so much of what has gone well for the Padres offense this season. There's a piece in the UT this morning. Tom Krasnovic spoke with Merv Rettenmund, old hitting coach for the Padres, and sometimes you roll your eyes on the the guy from my days perspective, but Merv actually said, I've never enjoyed seeing a team hit more than this San Diego Padres team. And he coached the 1998 World Series Padres, but he goes, every single at-bat, love their approach. They're going up there. This team just knows what it is trying to do at the plate. And more often than not, they go and then execute what they are trying to do at the plate. Now, does it always work?
Nope.
No. We just saw yesterday's game where they scored 1 run. But they don't strike out. Even when they lose, they only strike out 4 times in the game. It's not the kind of baseball that you see from other teams.
Yeah, that we have gotten accustomed to over the last few years. It's not that it's not that way. It's not that 3 true outcome type stuff. It's guys getting the ball, putting it in play. And of course, getting the home run contributions has been great, man. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. This team's slugging a lot better, so it's been great to see. It was a blast. I mean, anytime you send 9 guys up and they all score, I mean, that's little league stuff, man. It just does not happen against a big league team. 9 straight runs. It was unreal.
Yeah, and I think the jury is still out whether the Padres offense can be consistently effective, whether they're, is that really the formula you want to try to win a championship? But it truly is probably the most entertaining offensive team in baseball.
No
with a
question.
high batting average, lots of guys on base, constant traffic, contributions from throughout the order, bottom.
And we still hit into a lot of double plays.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because they make contact.
They make a lot of contact.
They have guys on base. The way you hit into double plays is by getting guys on base and then making contact. Teams that don't hit into double plays, it's because they're striking out or they're not getting guys on base in the first place. So, yeah, the double plays are frustrating. Manny hits into a ton of them. But when you constantly...
Manny, Kim, Crony, they're all like...
But when you constantly have guys on
Arise, I think, they're all
first and
leaders.
second when you're coming up and you hit the ball hard, sometimes it's going to be on the ground and it's going to be at someone. You're going to hit into a lot of double plays. That's not a sign that the Padres are doing something wrong. It's actually a sign they're doing something right, that they're hitting into a lot of double plays.
Got to get in the air. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easier said
But
than
you're not
done.
always going to do that.
Now, you made the announcement late in the show Friday. The Padres had added Austin Davis, and you were like, who is Austin Davis? Now, we had forgotten completely. You know who Austin Davis is? That's Big Fudge. Remember Big Fudge?
Big Fudge.
Yes, that's Big Fudge.
That's Big Fudge.
We talked about Big Fudge in the offseason. And here he is, makes his debut with the Padres. 1 inning pitch,
That's
1
right, we
walk,
did,
1
didn't we?
strikeout. Yeah, Big Fudge. And look
good.
Looks like he's nasty stuff on the left side.
That break, left to right there, it was significant.
I can get behind a nickname of Big Fudge. Real good. Big Fudge.
Again,
Welcome.
good weekend for the Padres bullpen.
Yep.
In taking 2 out of 3 from the Boston Red Sox. All right, we'll come back. 8 o'clock hour. We'll include a visit from Sammy Levitt, in-season Sammy. Hosted all the Padres pre- and post-game shows. Lots more to get to with Ben and Woods. Don't go away. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're halfway home on a Monday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you guys. Took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. Always feels good when you can go into a hostile environment like Fenway Park. Look beautiful, by the way.
Fenway Park.
Absolutely. Yeah, Fenway Park. It looked beautiful. I've had a little FOMO. I'm not going to lie. I saw a lot of Padres fans made the trip.
Tons of Padres fans there.
I've been getting it bad this year, man, for sure. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. I mean, even I'm not a big Blink 182 fan since one of their guys said they were going to come on with us and then didn't, and it bummed me out. I like people of their word. You know, we promoted it. It made us look like idiots when they bailed the next day. But even last night, they played Petco Park, and it looked amazing. And I like 4 or 5 songs, whatever. But I saw it last night. I went, God dang, I'm missing out on this.
You know, the Fenway Park and Petco Park are extremely different.
Yes.
But they share that connection that was, of course, highlighted this weekend, and that is Larry Lucchino.
100%.
Who was the driving force behind the construction of Petco Park. I mean, the personal sheer will and effort, community, meetings that he took to try to make Petco Park happen above and beyond, and then went to Boston and basically did the same thing. The renovation of the Green Monster, the seats on top.
They were talking about maybe the best idea ever.
Yeah,
to put seats up there. Maybe the best idea in history.
People were against it for a while. You can't tarnish a cathedral of baseball.
Tarnish it, man. It
was a great idea.
Can you imagine sitting up there? What better seat on the planet? I've had some good ass seats before. Nothing like that.
I can't wait to have Jesse Agler on the show tomorrow. As much of a baseball nerd that man is, following his Instagram stories all
awesome,
weekend.
Man.
He was taking you on little tours. I just was like, I'm so happy that he gets to finally call a game at Fenway Park. Can't wait to hear about it. I loved the pictures that the Padres posted of all the guys signing the inside of the Green Monster.
Pretty sick, man.
That's a tradition. Your first time at Fenway Park, you go in, and it's everybody's first time at Fenway Park on this roster.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's now being renamed to Jackson Merrill Park because he is the owner of Fenway right now. What a monster series he had in Fenway. But no, I had that feeling of like, dude, why aren't we going on some of these trips? It really bums me out. Well, we don't have disposable income. I've got a family as well I have to take care of and be home for. But I really was looking, going, we've been saying this for years.
All right, 2025. We'll go to
2025.
Boston.
We got to go to, I don't even care if it's Boston. We got to go somewhere. Chicago, Wrigley, something. We got to do something as this show. How much longer, you don't know how much longer we'll be together or, even alive. You have no idea. Life is short. We got to YOLO it up a little bit more next year. Because I'm sitting here watching going, well, this looks like a great time. Everyone's eating the local fare and, walking around and having a ball. We'd have a blast there. It's a shame our company won't pay our way to go to do our job. It really just is you love content so much. We will give you content. Here's the interesting part. If we pay our own way, they're going to want content. I'm going to be like, you're not getting any. Hey, can you do a video from outside Wrigley? No. I'm on vacation. I paid for this. You want to reimburse me? I'm in. As much as we love baseball, as much as we love the Padres, I'm like, we need to pick a thing and go every single year somewhere. Pittsburgh would be an incredible.
Oh, I'd like to see PNC.
Yes,
I've never been to Pittsburgh.
We could get that sandwich everybody raves about.
Primanti Brothers with the fries.
Right. Pittsburgh, there's a handful of stadiums like Pittsburgh,
Philly.
Kaufman. No. Cities that, unless it's there for work, like a baseball centric trip.
Right.
I probably won't ever be there. I don't ever see myself just in Pittsburgh.
Going to Pittsburgh.
I would have to be going to watch a baseball game. I don't ever see myself just in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'd have to be going to watch a baseball game.
Of course.
I can see myself in Chicago, New York, Boston.
Yeah, and the game there is kind of
an
an afterthought in one of those big cities, right? I mean, I took Bo to Chicago last year. I looked at the schedule, and I went, crap, Cubs aren't there. Bummer. But there was still so much more to do.
All right, I got the trip. We should have done it this year when we knew the manager. Miami.
I tried. We talked about it. Nothing ever materialized.
Miami Vice Higgins over here.
Yeah. Can you imagine him?
Get my pastel
shirt.
Oh, my God. Ben out in Miami Beach. It's expensive, though. I mean, it's expensive.
That's the trip.
The drinks out in South Beach are expensive.
Here, too.
That's true. That's true.
We live here every day, and it's expensive.
It's also true. Yeah, I'd like to get out there, man. Yeah. Somebody said Klug is listening right now, counting the expense report in his head. Yeah, tons of money lying around. Well, I mean, again, we're going to do it next year, whether you want content out of it or not.
Well,
that's
keep
up
in
to you.
mind also, the baseball schedule, the 2025 schedule, usually comes out, I think, like August. So
Yeah, pretty
we
soon.
should
Right,
know.
let's plan something.
In
For the
about
love
a
of
month
God.
and have an idea of, time of the year and what looks appealing on the
What
Padres schedule
international
for
trip
next
will the
year.
Padres be going on next year?
Yeah, even those. I didn't. The Mexico City one would have been a lot of fun. The Korea one I thought is just going to be it's just too long.
Padres opening the season in Oslo, Norway next year.
We're in.
Why? What?
They'll do it in some really weird spot, and I'll be like, fine, I'll send you guys. Like, never mind, we don't want to. We don't want to go. No, we got to make some of those trips happen next year, even if it's on our own dime, because it looks so much fun, man. And the weather that the people got. If you went Friday and Saturday, you were like, I've landed in paradise, for the weather they had at Fenway. Now, yesterday, not a game that I would have sat through. I would have told you both at the hotel, go ahead. I'm going to be watching in the hotel room.
Hot and sticky is
And
not
pouring
my
rain.
jam,
Yeah, pouring rain.
That's
Pass.
why you got to pick the right time of year as
We
well.
still have a couple more road trips this year. I mean, it's not too late. Pittsburgh and Miami, both at the beginning of August.
There's not enough time to plan.
Oh, there's enough time. You just don't have the will to do so.
Well, fine.
I'm not saying I do.
I got to run it by the missus too.
Yeah,
it's a whole
there's
big.
a lot
It's a whole big thing.
Permissions required.
Yes, lots of permission slips.
Let's see. Did anyone catch me anchoring the news last night? Filling in on Channel 10 and the 6 and the 11 o'clock?
So I was in my office working at 5 o'clock, and I thought you were on at 5. And so I put on Channel 10 at 5, and it was not it. So I did not sit.
That was it. You gave one chance, and then you were done.
I gave it one shot, and then
It was a slow news day. There wasn't a ton going on. Couple of fires in Northern California. Our lead story was the fact that new laws go into effect on July 1st, including, this one was kind of interesting. Did you know that at most or certain bars and clubs now, they're required to provide tests for your drink to see if it's been spiked with like roofies, Rohypnol, or ketamine. So there's strips or straws that you just put in and then look and see if it
Tell
changes.
Me, I need to hear this in Ben Anchor News voice.
I did it last night in Anchor News voice, but it's required from the state of California, a new law that goes into effect today, that certain Class 48 establishments with a liquor license must provide to their customers the ability to test their drinks for foreign substances that have been added to prevent, rising sexual assaults that occur in those establishments.
I think it's absolutely a great idea.
Yeah. Some places we're providing them for free. Others, they can charge a fee for them, but they have to have them at least at the bar or available to customers. That's one of the laws that went into effect. Of course, I think our gas taxes are going up slightly again as well.
Very cool.
Here at the start of July. So it's California. You're going to pay more in gas taxes. That was another law that they are talking about. But it was a quiet news day for the most part.
Adam says in the chat, anyone remember when Stephen Woods talked about the show going to Texas for the All-Star game but didn't actually want to go? I do. I don't recall that at all. And then Hannah said, I do, Adam. He's the boy that cried road trip. I guess when the feet are actually held to the fire, I'm like, I'm good.
Once you realize it's going to require a trip to the airport and waiting in a security line.
Packing and everything else.
You just want to be there. You want to snap your fingers.
Yeah.
You want to be at the Padres road game and then snap your fingers and be back in your bed that night.
It's true. It's true. We are going to San Francisco as a family in September for Hannah's birthday. We're going to check out a game. I think it's Padres-Giants at Oracle. So that'll be fun. First time going to that ballpark. We love San Francisco, taking the kids to Alcatraz, doing the whole bit. So very excited about that. But as a show, I'd like us to get away and go do something.
I mean, we have our spring fantasy baseball every year that we go.
Fantasy camp?
Fantasy camp.
Yes.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, we do that.
But it's just kind of a getaway for the show.
That's a getaway.
But you want an in-season getaway.
An in-season getaway where the boys are playing somewhere and we get to go watch them. Be good.
How about a playoff trip?
That'd be
in
all
October.
right, let's do that. Let's do that.
Can't plan those in advance.
Too nervous, man. Be amazing, though. All right, yeah, we'll do that.
But that would be ideal.
Okay. Deal.
Padres are certainly on pace to get there at this point, a little over halfway through the season. Currently 3 games behind the Braves, who are the first wild card team in the National League, half game ahead of the Cardinals, who are in the 3rd slot. Mets are in 4th, and still that, big grouping of teams in the National League that are all still, for the most part, in it. Got the Giants, Diamondbacks, Pirates, Nationals, Cubs. Some teams have struggled a little bit, but no one's so far back that they can't envision a 5-6 game winning streak that gets them right back into the thick of things. So don't know if we are going to have a lot of movement yet. It is trade deadline month. July is here. By the end of the month, you're going to have your final moves in place and have your roster set for the rest of the season. So, those talks are just going to heat up over the coming weeks, but still not many more sellers. I saw the Blue Jays are finally saying, all right, we're going to put a few guys on the market.
Bro, and the guys
not happening for us this year.
The guys that they were throwing on the market, there's definitely some interesting names in Kikuchi. And then there's Yimi Garcia out of their bullpen is pretty nasty too. I'm sure AJ has made some calls to Canada here recently.
I would think so.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
They have a couple of pretty good fits there.
With Tatis's injury, still the outfield remains. Xander Bogaerts could be back before the All-Star break. He is getting a CT scan today. If all goes well, he could start a rehab assignment in the next couple of days.
Where the hell does he play?
But the problem is he's not an outfielder. What they really need is another outfielder at this point, not knowing how long Tatis is going to be out, not really having any solid backups. I mean, Bryce Johnson has started every single day since he's been here. He's not an everyday starter.
He's not, and David Peralta's not either, and Eggy Rosario's not either.
Big leaguer at this point,
right?
And he's starting every single day.
I know, man.
It's a glaring hole right now for the San Diego Padres.
No, and if it wasn't for Kyle Higashioka having this monster June, Ben, I mean, think about what the bottom of that lineup looks like right now with Bryce Johnson in there every single day, man. It's rough. So, yeah, David Peralta's not a guy you can run out there 5 games a week starting in right field. Yeah, they got to do something. They got to do something. And a lot of people are talking about Tirso Ornelas getting potentially a call up pretty soon, playing pretty well. Okay, let's see it. I'd rather see a guy that has some potential with some pop than no offense to Bryce Johnson, but we have plenty of guys on this team can bunt. We're pretty adept at bunting. Tyler Wade lives here, and Hassan Kim now lives here as Lord Sacrifice.
I'm surprised that Wade hasn't gotten a start or two in the outfield
me too.
In the last week, just knowing what Mike Schilt generally says about him and thinks about him.
Yeah.
But he's been, I guess when you're winning, you don't stir things too much. Maybe now that they lost yesterday, you can think about giving Bryce Johnson a day off and trying something else. But
Brandon says, can Crony play outfield? I feel like he's athletic enough. I've been saying this for 5 years, that he is put him in at the time, it was put him in left field and let him go.
So Bogaerts at second.
Yep.
And then move Crony to the outfield.
I think he could do it in a second. I just feel like he'd be great at it. I really do. I've always felt that.
Isn't that kind of the point of having a roster full of shortstops, is that they're athletic enough to play anywhere?
It is, but it's also the problem of having a roster full of shortstops. They can't, it's a learning curve to play anywhere else unless you're Jackson Merrill. But Crony, I think Crony could do it in a heartbeat.
I would say it's very difficult to make that transition without, full off season to work on it, a full spring training. Jackson Merrill is making the conventional wisdom of that feel a little foolish in how quickly he adapted to center field and how absolutely serviceable or beyond serviceable he's even been defensively. But to ask someone to move out there without a single day of spring
in the middle
training
of the
in the middle of the season
I know.
is a lot.
I know, man.
It's a lot.
I know.
But that's where they have plenty of infielders and not enough outfielders right now.
Well, Eddie Rosario was just DFA'd, I think, this morning by the Nationals, so they're going to be looking to move him. Maybe he's an option. I don't know. I mean, I think everything's on the table right now for the San Diego Padres. You do have some holes to fill, and excuse me. I think it's important that they get done soon. I mean, you got a tough stretch coming up in July. I know you get days off and all that, but you still got to win those games, man. As fresh as you are.
I'm assuming that Rosario move was to clear a 40-man roster spot for James Wood.
That's exactly right.
Who is being promoted today, former Padres prospect, part of course, the Juan Soto trade.
Will
make his major league debut for the Washington Nationals in just 1 of 3 games today.
Yep.
In a light schedule in Major League Baseball, so there'll be a lot of eyes on James Wood as he takes the field for the first time.
Going up against the Mets, I do believe. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, good for him, man. Good for him. Excited
Look
about it.
forward to him hitting a home run at some point this week and everyone
Losing their minds.
rehashing that conversation.
It's already been rehashed.
I've seen a lot of
Who
won the trade, lost the trade.
It's already been rehashed ad nauseum. Nothing you can do about it.
There's
now.
no doubt that Washington, knowing they were going to lose Juan Soto and knowing they weren't going to win anything with him over that last season, 2.5 seasons, made a very smart move
Of
to
course.
trade him.
They got
And
a
have
good
gotten
return.
Good return on that trade.
Absolutely.
No doubt about that. Does that mean the Padres made a bad trade? Not necessarily.
Nope.
Not necessarily. But it was definitely a good trade for the Washington Nationals.
Yep.
I think we can be comfortable making that judgment now, almost 2 years after the fact.
Indeed.
All right, we'll take a time out. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got Sam Levitt joining us, in-season Sammy. Reindl Report is ahead as well. Don't go anywhere. More Ben and Woods coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. No Padres baseball tonight. Day off on the road in Texas.
Guess I'm watching a Nickelback documentary instead.
Well, that's what you committed to. But may I interest you in Copa America soccer, United States versus Uruguay?
What time's that game?
Tonight. I think it's around 6.
All right, I could probably do first half of that and then get some Nickelback in.
Yeah, from Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. And pretty much must win. I mean, I think there is a scenario in which the U.S. could lose and still advance, but it basically, they are playing at the same time as Panama, the team they lost to in their last match.
Okay.
They have to match Panama's results. Panama is playing Bolivia, the last place team in the pool, in the group. The U.S. is playing Uruguay, the first place team in the group. So a tougher matchup.
Right.
Same time. So if Panama ties, if the U.S. ties, that's good enough. They will advance into the knockout round. Panama wins, though. U.S. needs to win, and they need to maintain their goal differential advantage, which is currently +2 over Panama. So they'd have to win and not like if Panama won like 5-0, the U.S. would have to win at least 4-0
4-0
to move on. So that would be very difficult. But if Panama loses, you could theoretically lose a close one and still advance based on goal differential, but I wouldn't count on that tonight.
And those games are running concurrently,
so you don't know what's going on necessarily in the other game. You'll get reports as
scoreboard
it's going.
watching,
little scoreboard watching as well. So that's the soccer story. Mexico was already eliminated last night. They had their control of their own destiny against Ecuador, but were unable to score a goal in a 0-0 draw that sent Ecuador into the knockout round of Copa America. So we'll see if the U.S. can last more than one day longer than Mexico. Be an embarrassing early exit if the U.S. does lose, but
another
one. Right. Yes. An international soccer play.
Team of the future every year.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly the best group of like young talent they've ever had, but it's soccer. You get really 2 chances every 4 years to show it off in really major international competition, and if you ultimately disappoint, then you wasted it. You just wasted the last 2 years. Now you decide whether you want to keep your coach or fire your coach ahead of the next 2 years, which is the build-up to the World Cup that will take place in North America, including the United States in 2026.
And World Cup is in 26.
26, yeah. U.S., Canada, Mexico, the tri-hosts of a North American World Cup that's 2 years away. And if the U.S. loses today, there will be a lot of panic and consternation about whether they're on the wrong path ahead of a very important, when you host, you're really expected to make a deep run in a World Cup.
All right, I'll check it out tonight.
So
we had it on the other night. I saw the red card and saw the brutal hit on the goalkeeper. And, I'll throw it on tonight. Like you said, there's nothing else for me to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet night otherwise. Only 3 games in Major League Baseball.
I doubt I'm going to be, on James Wood watch. I'm not going to do wood watching.
No watching of the wood.
No watching of wood.
Woods watches wood.
Woods watches wood tonight. Maybe. But, I did place a wager on him to hit a home run tonight because the odds were tremendous. So that'd be good. So I'll be rooting for that one. But I don't think he's going to be like appointment viewing, right? They're not going to stop down every time he takes an AB.
I don't think so.
They might on MLB Network if they're not playing Little Big League or something. I tune in.
Sandlot.
Hey, there's these huge games going on over the weekend. I'm like, see what's MLB's doing right now. I'm like, oh, Field of Dreams again. Like you can't get one game, something like just give us something. And no, you're right. It was Field of Dreams again for like the 40th time. What if we just dumped into Field of Dreams every time we were out of material?
We're running ads, I hear, for a live performance of Field of Dreams at the Rady Shell later this month. That would be something I would actually go to, where they play the movie, but an orchestra actually plays the music live, the Field of Dreams music, while they play the movie.
No.
You wouldn't do that?
Mm-mm.
Kids wouldn't like that?
No.
We used to do that a couple of times. We took the kids to before the Shell was built, we still had the venue out there.
My kids are into Haktua right now. They're not really into orchestras and things. They are both running around the house incessantly.
But they like movies. Field of Dreams?
Yeah. Bo likes Field of Dreams.
Well, there you go.
I've started to use, Dad, what does Haktua mean?
Haktua, spit on that thing.
I've started to use it in a baseball context. If you see a pitch, Bo, that you don't like, you just...
Haktua.
Spit on it.
Spit on that thing. Oh,
Spit on that thing.
change up, down and away.
Hawk Tua.
On a 2-1 count.
Spit on that thing.
That's it. So that's how I've started to use it in my home. It's a baseball term.
Don't swing at the pitcher's pitch.
Swing at your pitch.
Swing at your pitch.
Yeah, one in
Spit
your
on the other one.
Spit on that.
Plus, there's 2 strikes. Then you got to protect.
Yeah.
Hawk Tua.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I've been using it for. I think it fits.
It does,
It does.
actually.
Yeah. Hey, you see one you don't like?
Hawk to and spit on that thing.
Perfect. Great context.
Less
maybe she's a baseball
racy
fan.
undertones.
Yeah,
to your usage.
100%. I don't want them at school running around saying
No.
it, but it's
always a worry at your
my house. Yeah, it is.
What did they say at school? What do you not say at school?
That's exactly right.
All right, Sammy Levitt's going to join us in season. Sammy, when we come back, don't go anywhere. It's Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, that was a fun weekend. Would it have been nicer to end with a win and another sweep? Yes, but you can't have everything all the time. You can sometimes have sweeps, and the Padres have had a couple of them recently, but couldn't quite pull it off, yet they did take 2 of 3 in Boston to start their road trip. We got Sammy Levitt standing by. In-season Sammy's going to join us right after check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
We still have this crash and clearing stage on southbound 15 before Center City Parkway. Everything is over to the right shoulder. And our Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows some debris in the right lane on South 5 Coastline just before Del Mar Heights. I'm Kelly Danick, Bennerwood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, let's talk to Sammy here. We got Sam Levitt with us here on 97.3 The Fan. It's a Monday morning. Sammy, good morning to you. How was your weekend?
Good morning, guys. Good weekend. Pretty fun couple of games in Boston to begin the series, and everything was great in the studio, so a good weekend.
You had some FOMO too, I bet. I mean, I've been to Boston a few times, been to Fenway a couple times. Watching that series, the weather, they had those first 2 games, Sammy, I was like, God dang, why didn't I make the trip up to Boston and go watch these guys just kick the hell out of the Red Sox for the first 2 days at least? I feel like we had a missed opportunity there, buddy.
Yeah, it would have been great. Would have loved to have been there. And, from both the work perspective and just enjoying baseball, I've been to Fenway Park one time. It was not to see a Red Sox game, but it was actually for the Cape Cod Baseball League workout. They would do that every year for all the guys in the Cape Cod League when I worked there for 2 summers. And it's actually a really cool experience because there are scouts all over the Cape League all summer. And then around the Cape Cod League All-Star Game, they bring each team in to do a workout where they have tons and tons of scouts sitting in the stands at Fenway. And it's a really cool opportunity for those guys, not just to, work out in front of, every scout you could imagine, but also get an experience of being on the field at Fenway. Back in the day, I think they actually played the All-Star Game at Fenway, or maybe they do it again now. When I was there, they didn't do that. They only had the workout. But I remember the broadcast crew I was with at the time, and, we were all in college and just really starting out. It was my friend Kevin, my friend Susie, my friend Matt, and we went up to the Green Monster. And I actually, this weekend, I looked at that photo that we have on top of the Green Monster, and it was pretty cool. So Boston, I've been to Boston a lot growing up in New York, and when I was in Cape Cod, I spent 2 summers there, so I know that area pretty well. And I would have loved to have been there. Maybe next time.
What was that terrible Cape Cod movie that they did?
Summer Catch.
Summer
with Freddie Prinze
Catch.
Jr. and
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel? Yeah, Jessica Biel and Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah. I will say this, and I've seen that movie. It's not, it's obviously not realistic, I would say.
Right.
But there were definitely aspects to it that were spot on. When you think about like classic, ball players showing up in the Cape Cod League and going around from field to field. I've said this to a lot of people. I think the Cape Cod League, not to get on too of a tangent on it, but I think the Cape Cod League is like a must-do baseball experience.
Yeah, I'm into
that. I really think that it is by far the best summer league in the country. You don't have to pay to go to the games. People literally put their blankets and chairs down in the morning, and then they show up later and sit down, and they're playing at middle school fields and high school fields, and there really is sort of a mystique to it and just sort of a love of the game feel to it. And there's tons of scouts, and everything's within an hour. You just play one game, and then that's it. And you play another game against another team the next night. It really is, I think, for a baseball fan, a must experience. I really do, because there is something really special about it. And they've had that collegiate league out there forever, with some of the best players going back a long way, playing out there and getting their names out, to go play with wood bats out there was originally kind of the real reason.
And
so
Jessica Biel's cool there, Ben. So it's a great reason to go to see Jessica Biel. Right?
Can you promise?
I can't
that's part of
promise
the
you.
experience. I don't think you can. We got Sammy Levitt with us, and Woods. I just have to say, Sammy does such a great job on the pre and the post game shows. Especially, he's so unflappable. I was listening on Friday night after the game to Sammy's post game show, and it was a Friday, and it was Padres had won. It was a celebratory mood, and he took 2 or 3 straight calls in which the caller was less. Let's just say less than 100% sober. And you could tell.
Sober?
Well, you could tell when they wanted to talk about Kyle Higashioka.
Sorry. Good morning, evening.
But Sammy does such a good job. And
Higashioka.
Amazing. And I could just tell, and got a couple of those in a row. But Sammy is a pro. He keeps it lively. He keeps it fun. He treats everyone with respect, no matter how many 3 or 4 cocktails in before they give him a call. And I realize we don't ever get that experience in the mornings.
No, that would be a problem.
That would be a problem.
That means you have a problem.
Generally, the people who call us
hammered.
are stone cold, sober at, it's between 6 and 10 a.m. when we do take phone calls. But you have a lot of late evening programs, Sammy, so you get some different clientele as part of your show.
Yeah, and it's all good. I mean, people having a good time on a Friday night after a Padre win. I mean, especially when the team is I would say at home. I mean, very often I'm on the air still in the 10:30 to 11 p.m. hour, right? Depending on how long the game goes. So I always say it on the post game, like, we appreciate you wherever you're listening from. If you're on the way to your Friday night plans, on the way home, maybe you're just going out. So we are always happy to hear from you, no matter what you've done earlier in the night. What you're going to do. If you're going to party, that's fine. Yeah, it's all good. So it's all part of the fun, I think, of the post game life.
Sammy, injury updates from the San Diego Padres. We saw a couple of new ones this morning. It's kind of mixed bag right now for the team. They've got some good news and they've got some more, I don't want to say concerning, but certainly news that gives you a little bit of pause right now.
Yeah, if you guys wouldn't mind updating me, was there something new that came out this morning before I hopped on the phone?
The good news is Xander Bogaerts is on track.
CT scan.
Yeah, getting a CT scan today, and if it goes well, could start a rehab assignment. Luis Camposano rehab assignment in Lake Elsinore today. In The Athletic, Dennis Lin, talking to doctors, and basically we're getting the sense that the optimistic timeline of Fernando Tatis Jr. returning maybe after the All-Star break is pretty darn optimistic, and that a more realistic view is this could be closer to a 2-month type injury to fully return from a stress reaction, and that we really shouldn't expect to see Fernando back anytime this month if we're being honest with ourselves.
Yeah, and I see Dennis's piece. I got to read this once I get off, so I apologize for that, for not being fully up to date on what Dennis wrote. But look, obviously with Xander, with the CT scan, we heard about that on Friday in Boston. So look, it sounded like if the results from that came back favorable, like he was not all that far away from maybe going out on a rehab assignment at some point. Look, without reading specifically what Dennis wrote this morning, I'm not super surprised, if Fernando's going to be out a while. I mean, it sort of sounded that way. Now, when the injury first happened, it was sort of a murky timeline, right? I mean, I felt like there was really no timeline put on it, but then you heard what Fernando said in the clubhouse later that day. And I felt like you could just kind of feel it and see it, that this was going to be something that was long term. I will say, I don't know if I expected, 2 months or something like that. But look, the bottom line is this. They're going to have to continue to figure out how to stay afloat. And I think, in an overall sense, no matter how long Bogaerts takes to come back, or if Fernando's going to be out a really, really extended period of time, to me, what they need to avoid is just sort of going down one of those real downward spirals, right, that we've seen. Okay. Because I actually, before I came on with you guys, I wasn't reading Dennis's article, but I was just jotting down what they've done since May 26th. And it really, I think, says something, because they won 5 of 6, then they lost 5 in a row. Then they won 5 of 6, then they lost 5 in a row. And then they won 9 of 11 to finish the month of June. And I think it just makes the point of, look, they are going to have to continue to win the way they've won through these injuries, and that's playing team baseball and getting contributions all over the place. But the one thing they just can't really afford to do, no matter how many off days they have, no matter some of the really good opponents they have coming up in July, one thing they just, have to avoid is letting yesterday's loss turn into losing a bunch in a row.
Yeah,
because
four more.
We've seen that, right?
Right.
Like like yesterday, I kept thinking about that Sunday game in Kansas City. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but that was like a stretch where the Padres had played really well, not for as long as they have this time around, but somehow, some way, that sort of surprisingly went into losing 5 in a row and totally changing how you felt about what they were doing. So, guys, I think maybe you're looking at a situation with this team where, look, if they end up playing at some sort of level like they've played the last week and a half, 2 weeks, that's awesome. But at bare minimum, you're just hoping they can stay afloat, stay right in the mix of that wild card race, and hopefully when they get these guys back are right there, and it's like you're getting trade deadline acquisitions essentially. And again, I got to read what Dennis wrote this morning on Fernando, but I'm not super surprised just based on his reaction later that night when it came out that he was going on the IL, and this was not a little thing. This was something that was gonna take some time.
I don't think the message has changed really at all from us. You got to hang around. That's it. Just hang around. And if you play 500 baseball through the month of July, which, again, you're going to have a ton of off days, but the schedule is pretty difficult with some really difficult teams. You've played well against tough teams so far this season. That can't change, certainly. And you do need to try to handle up on the teams that may be struggling a little bit. That would be a nice change of pace for the San Diego Padres. But really, at the end of the day, man, get through July. You should be able to get a little healthier with many, many off days in there, Sammy. But really, hang around. Hang around till the end of July, reevaluate. I mean, I just don't think anything's changed. I love the 9 out of 10. Certainly, it's not something I'm expecting more of. With more guys going down and more guys, getting drilled in the arm with 100-mile-an-hour base hits up the middle. You just have to hang around because the NL is really nothing to write home about. But don't be that team that just goes off the cliff that we've seen. We've seen that here in San Diego. So I understand why people are on edge about it a little bit. But, man, watching this team play, watching what they're capable of has been awesome. It's awesome. I hope that continues. And if you lose a few here and there, you just got to staunch the bleeding. You can't have those 5-gamers anymore. Those have killed us.
Right. Because I don't know, it's a good point. Like, again, I just think they need to find a way to avoid losing streaks, right?
Yep.
To avoid the kind of stretches that we saw earlier this year. Now, look, that may be easier said than done because I think this team, especially in the last, 10, 11 games, look, they've played great, and it's because they're getting contributions all over, whether it's Higgy, whether it's Jackson Merrill, whether it's, even the bullpen this weekend was really good.
Yep.
And I know they were dealing with big leads, but that was, I guess, somewhat encouraging that the bullpen was better. And obviously Manny heating up the way he has, that goes an enormously long way. But, yeah, when you zoom out and you look at the picture, Yu Darvish is out, and there's not a ton of information on when he's going to come back. Joe Musgrove, we know it's going to be at least a while for him. And then, now the situation with Fernando maybe being lengthier than what you originally anticipated, and Xander is still a ways away. It's going to be at least, I would imagine, a couple of weeks based on what the results are today of that scan. So, yeah, it's they're in a really interesting spot, guys. Right? Like they are playing well, and they're more than staying afloat right now. And then you've got the trade deadline looming, and how do they add, and what do they want to add, and what would they be willing to trade? And then in the context of this really wide open NL, so. It's an interesting spot, and look, you hope those guys, whether it's you or Joe or Fernando or Xander, you want those guys back as quick as humanly possible, but that help is obviously just even on Xander's front still appears to be a bit of a ways away.
Well, first up in July is a 3-game series against the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers, who had lost 6 in a row. 7 in a row, I think, or 6 in a row before yesterday, and then they won yesterday. But one matchup, not that they're head-to-head, but the two rookies, Wyatt Langford, who has been playing really well, including a cycle yesterday,
It was
the
amazing.
first in
I was
baseball
watching
this
it.
season.
Incredible.
Yesterday against Jackson Merrill, who's probably, at least in consideration for, National League Player of the Week or even Player of the Month with the kind of month that he put together. Going to be some rookie people looking at rookies this week when the Padres take on the Rangers.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Wyatt Langford, he played better. He did not get off to a great start, unlike Jackson Merrill, who kind of hit the ground running at the start of the year. But, just on Merrill, man, it just, I think we talked about him last week, but it just continues to be remarkably impressive. And the way this guy rises to the moment and to do what he did at Fenway, and his mom sitting out in center field, and he nearly hits a home run right into her lap in center. I mean, it's just, it's remarkable. And I actually, not that I'm not a betting guy, but I did want to go look up at one of the major sports books, just like what are the odds, right, for Merrill and Rookie of the Year right now. And I think when I looked over the weekend, he had the second best odds to win Rookie of the Year in the NL. And, right now, and look, I know Imanaga had been really, really good, and Yamamoto had been really, really, really good, and now is injured. But, like, if you just want to look at him, Merrill, in Skeens, look, you may be ultimately looking at a two-man race there. And what I'll be curious about is, A, does Paul Skeens, keep up the pace he's at? And he's been terrific. How many innings is he going to throw? Is that going to be enough to win a Rookie of the Year? We're going to find out. But I said this to somebody on the phones over the weekend. Like, I think, we all would love to see him do something like that and win that kind of award. But regardless of that, just on Jackson, he is certainly having a Rookie of the Year caliber season. So, whether he ends up winning the hardware or not, I guess really isn't the point. But man, he's got something about him. And again, I think I said it to you last week that we all showed up at spring training and it was clear he was going to get an opportunity. And I think a credit to the Padres, they were right. He was ready, and I think he's certainly even exceeded the expectations we could have had to this point.
Well, Sammy, enjoy the day off here, and then we'll catch you tomorrow. We got, I believe, a 4:05 Eco Water SoCal pregame show, 5:05 first pitch against the Texas Rangers in the series opener. We'll hear from you then.
All right, sounds good, guys. Have you heard? I think I'm doing 6 to 10 on Friday.
Oh, are you filling in for us?
You got to cover our ass?
I did not know that.
I thought the whole station was off.
I thought everyone was off.
No, I believe, unless something has changed during Adam's traveling.
I mean,
I somehow have been.
I'm so sorry.
Assigned.
Jeez, now I feel bad for taking the day off.
And there's a game that night.
And then you've got a game that night against Arizona at home.
I did not know
We'll talk to Adam
We'll talk to the.
It's okay. No. I kind of volunteered.
Of course,
I kind of volunteered.
He's probably calling a minor
option.
league game tonight somewhere. He's crazy. He works all the time.
I'll talk NBA. I'm going to have fun. I think I'm going to try not to talk baseball from 6 to 10.
All right,
actually, you're not allowed. Just so you know,
Sammy
on our show.
Levitt.
We do have rules.
There are rules here.
This Friday morning from 6 to 10, filling in for Ben and Woods and
I
Paul.
feel like such a heel right now, just a big fat heel.
I thought everybody was off.
That's what they told us.
It's supposed to be a 4-day
Adam.
weekend, right? All right, we'll come back. Paulie's got the Reindl Report, final hour
How
of
are
Ben
we
and
the
Woods.
jerks now?
I know.
Next on 97.3 The Fan.
That's unbelievable.
Actually, a pretty educational weekend for me with the Padres at Fenway Park. Not a venue in which the Padres have played a ton of games. They hadn't been there since 2013.
They put that lineup out. Woo, boy.
Pedro Sirocco at shortstop.
Yeah,
I had totally forgotten about Pedro Sirocco.
Mark Kotze in the DH slot that day.
His second stint with the Padres, end of his career.
Yeah, it was something.
So yeah, it was kind of educational. I learned, and Don and Mud talked about it on the broadcast about the Green Monster, and obviously the renovations that they put the seats on top of the wall looks fantastic. But the fact that they left that ladder on the wall as a historic artifact, they used to use that ladder to climb up after batting practice to go get the baseballs,
to get the balls
that had gotten caught in the net.
Smart.
So they could use them again the next day. Now they just go into the seats and fans get to take them home, or they head on out to the Lansdowne Street that's out there, Yawkey Way.
Used to be Yawkey Way,
but
I think
now
they
it's not.
disavowed it.
Yeah,
He was like a
old racist owner or something.
Yeah.
But whatever's out there. And then I think I had seen before that people go inside the wall and they sign their names, like players, like Jeremiah Estrada did it. And he took a picture where you see him. There's that little opening in the wall where the people who work behind can see what's going on in the game, like a window.
Yeah.
In the wall,
slit,
but
it's just a slit.
I mean, it's like a square. It's like it's enough to like put your head in, and that's about it.
Well, then there's slits all around it too, because
Right.
Jesse took a picture of a slit.
Yes, but there's an
that's
actual
big enough for your eyes.
There's one like window in the wall, and they said that one's always open there, but no ball has ever gone
into
that window in the history of Fenway Park, which is pretty amazing when you think about 112, 13 years, and that's always been there, and no one's hit a one-hopper that bounced right through the wall.
Incredible.
In the entire time it's been there.
Yeah. That one's big enough for a ball. The slits are not big enough for a ball.
No, but and learning, Jurickson out there kind of guessing. He had the one that bounced off the wall, then the track, and bounced right over his head. Didn't cost an extra base. It was going to be a double anyway, but the intricacies of playing that outfield with such quirky dimensions, and then knowing if it hits the scoreboard or it hits one of the numbers on the scoreboard or hits the ladder or anything, it's going to bounce completely differently than if it just hits the wall solidly. It's like a guessing game out there.
Well, I mean, you saw, Jurickson was the one.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was running back on it, I went, "You're too close! You're too close! You're too close! You're too close! You're not going to get." Oh, but once the ball caroms off and Jurickson runs to get it, do you know how far he is from
like
second base?
20
He's
feet.
10 feet away.
He's right there. It's
you
so
can
close.
Underhand it there and
So
get
he
him.
couldn't take an extra base because he's going to get there. The throw is like there. So
I loved Mud's story about when he went there, and he said he went back to the wall and he leaned up against the wall and he's like, "Do they move this thing back for the games? Because this is really, really close." I mean, if you go to Fenway, I went once. I went to a Yankees Red Sox series there. It was insane. Everywhere you sit, you're like, "Oh my God, I'm in this guy's back pocket." Like, I feel like I'm right on top of this dude. And that's cool. It's very intimate. And that's kind of how old Yankee Stadium was too. But man, you're in that ballpark and you're like, it's very, very tight. It's very
the
tight.
pesky pole is only like 300 feet right there in the corner,
Yeah,
303 or
303.
something. Sully got one. Duran's home run was not that long. It was into the corner yesterday as well, but just those very quirky dimensions for a team we don't get to see play our team there that often. It was kind of interesting and educational for me this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then, of course, Jackson Merrill's got to go out and play center field that has that funky, and he played it well. He played it, as he always does. He played it really well.
The one thing that I wanted to know that no one ever addressed, so when Jackson Merrill hit the home run to his mom, and they were all sitting there, but then the next day it was covered in a tarp, like
So
it was
they
the
talked
batter's
about
eye.
it. Yeah.
So did someone say that? I never heard
they
that.
They talked about it. They changed it for day games. Mud was talking about it. Jesse was talking
posted
about it
on social media.
And he was talking about it on the broadcast as well, how they just blacken out those seats for day games, for the batter's eye.
But for night games, they feel like it's okay to
Night
have
games,
fans
they feel
out
like
there.
it's okay.
He said like capacity changes between day games and night games by like 400 seats.
Yep.
I was wondering if that was something to do with
It's quirky.
that.
It's just quirky, man. And quirky is cool. I mean, look, you'd hate you'd hate 30 ballparks like that. I think you would. Eventually, you'd be like, oh God. But I like the quirkiness of it. Really cool experience.
But I don't
want to
see any just complete symmetrical arcs all the way around.
Remember those days,
Yeah,
man? I mean, that's the baseball I grew up
Stadium was
watching.
like that.
Arlington
Three
Stadium.
Rivers,
Oh my God,
Riverfront. I mean, they all seem kind of the same.
But that was the height of architecture back then, when they could get it perfectly symmetrical. They were like, we've done it. This is exactly what. Too much quirks in Wrigley Field. Too many quirks in Fenway Park. Let's get this nice and even.
Then they built Minute Maid Park and they put a flagpole and a hill on the field. Yeah, okay, we've jumped the shark a little bit in ballpark design at this point.
I will never forget that hill. That hill in center field was just, you had to see it to believe it.
What are we doing?
Center fielders like, come on, bro, come on. No, it was awesome. It's just, if you're a baseball fan and you've never had the chance to go to Fenway Park, you have to put it on your list of must-sees. It is spectacular.
I know we got to get to the Reindl Report. I feel like the Padres, until this year, the Petco porch always seemed to do more for the opponents. But this year, all of a sudden, they've hit like a bunch of home runs into that corner this year. Jake, Jackson Merrill, just Jerks and Profar's grand slam. That porch has been very effective for the Padres this year. They're finally taking advantage of one of their own stadium quirks for once, which has been nice. All right, Paulie's got some other news for us. Let's get to it. It is time for the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Gentlemen, we will start off in Major League Baseball, and I thought we could actually all work through this together. I did not know that new rules were coming for the upcoming Home Run Derby. Was that 3 weeks from tomorrow? 2 weeks from tomorrow?
2 weeks.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks
tonight.
from today.
Tonight,
yeah.
2 weeks from tonight in Texas. The Home Run Derby. Now, they made the changes 8 or 9 years ago where it was going to be timed and everyone freaked out. I actually loved it from the start. I thought it was outstanding.
I liked it as well.
I was
But it's
reading
going
about
good,
it.
so we need to change it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how baseball likes
All right.
to work.
Can
I
I-
was reading about it. Like, I guess
Can I admit?
some players had complained about like fatigue.
Yeah.
It's how many swings can you get in 2 minutes?
They
or
get
whatever.
worn out. But I saw hey, we're doing an announcement tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. We're going to explain it all for you. And I watched a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball, but late. And I saw the rules pop up. I gave them one cursory glance, and I said, Ben, I'm just going to wait for Ben to explain it to me. I had no idea what they're doing.
Well,
here.
let me give you the rules, and
All
then
right.
we'll see if Ben can accurately.
If you have any
Ben
questions,
explain.
I've looked through this, and I, for the most part, understand it.
So ESPN kind of broke it down. So the competition flow: first round, 8 hitters. Top 4 will advance. A tie is broken by the longest home run in the first round.
That's a difference from previous years where it was like a bracket, and you just had to beat the one guy you were going against.
Right.
Now, you could have hit the second most home runs in the first round, but if you were facing the guy who hit the most, you're eliminated. Now, you would move on to the second round. No matter where you hit, you just have to be in the top 4. That makes more sense to me than eliminating a guy who hit 24 home runs because the guy he went up against hit 25.
So
I like the bracket.
I did too.
You did like the bracket.
Well, you'll get a little bit of both because that's the first round. Top 4 out of the 8 will advance to the semifinals. The semifinals will then be a bracket: 1 versus the 4 seed, 2 versus 3, and it's based on the first round home run totals. And then in the final, the top 2 will face off, the winners of those 2 semifinal brackets.
No longer timed? Is it timed?
All right, so that's the change in the rules.
Yes, the first round and the semifinals. You will have a 3-minute round.
Still timed.
40 pitches.
Max.
1 timeout. And I saw it kind of compared to like in the 3-point shootout, you only have X amount of basketballs to shoot from.
Correct.
You don't just get to keep shooting until
But
the time
there is
runs
also
out.
a clock, and if you run out of time, they don't necessarily let you shoot the last 3 or 4 baskets.
Correct.
Right.
So this is a way that it's not just a race to see how many swings you can get in your 3 minutes. You know you only get 40, so you can slow it down just a little bit and know as long as I get the maximum 40 opportunities, I'm good. I don't have to race to try to get 40. I think the average was getting up to like 43. Some guys were getting 45 or 46 swings, and they were saying it's exhausting to try to do that. So this will back it off a little bit for guys who said this is becoming a real grind to try to do the home run derby.
Says you get 3 bonus outs, so you will have the bonus round. I don't know if that's timed or not.
That is not a timed round. Instead of a time bonus round like it used to be, it'll just be 3 outs. And an out is anything that you swing and it doesn't go over the fence. I mean, you get a liner off the fence, you get a foul ball, swing and miss. That's an out. Anything that's not a home run.
Okay,
you get 3.
But you can also let it go and just
spit on it.
I spit on that. If your batting
old
practice
Hot
pitcher
Hot
is not
Tua.
in the zone on the non-timed round, you can just say, "Don't like that one. I'm waiting for a better one."
You will also be able to get a bonus 4th out in the bonus round if you hit a home run of 425 feet or further.
Instead of a bonus 30 seconds, which, that would have been another 7 swings or whatever it was. So now it's just one more out where you can take your time.
Okay.
And then in the finals, it'll be a 2-minute round, not 3 minutes. 27 pitches, not 40. You get 1 timeout, and then the same bonus rules apply.
All right.
Is it complicated? Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Is it too complicated?
We'll get used to it. It'll be fine. They'll explain it as they go. Don't worry about it too much. You don't have to do it. You're just watching it.
I'm excited for it.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to be in it? We don't know. We just know Gunnar Henderson said he is in it for sure. Anyone else? They have not announced.
Aaron Judge wanted to. I don't know that he's going to. No. He just got dotted on the
Dave
hand.
Roberts said he doesn't want Shohei to do it.
Please do it.
Yeah.
But those are your new rules.
All right.
Shift over to the NBA. We briefly talked about NBA free agency.
Yes.
What's the tampering period now? It's July or June 30th with like 3 hours to go or something. You can officially start talking, and that's when all the players can legally start texting each other and colluding and figuring out where they want to go.
I'm basketball Ben, and I can't even figure it out.
Crazy.
If we actually had a team and I had to figure out like the salary cap and the apron and the penalties, I would have to spend like all day, every day, trying to understand it.
Right here.
All I know is at midnight, all of a sudden, all these like mega $1 million deals are just signed and agreed upon, but in like 8 minutes. It's weird, but I guess the big news that you need to know is LeBron opted out of his contract with the Lakers as expected, and he's doing that because he wants to restructure. He's willing to do a team-friendly deal if it means going out and getting some veteran help, and the leader in the clubhouse right now would be Klay Thompson. He is his time is running out in Golden State.
What does that do for you, Benny?
Well, his dad, Michael Thompson's longtime radio analyst for the Lakers, and that would be a nice story. Klay is not the same Klay he was 5 or 6 years ago. Lakers need some shooters, though, and he's been a really good one. What
about Bronny James as a shooter? How'd that do for you?
Not much yet.
You like that your favorite basketball team, they're just doing bits now. Let's get your podcast, buddy. We'll draft your son, and then we'll get the radio announcer's kid to come in and shoot some threes from time to time.
I think, though, the pressure, LeBron knows, this better work, though. It would look bad for me if it didn't. So he's going to, go to he's doing the Tom Brady thing where he'll take a little less to try to make sure Lakers have the best chance to succeed, at least.
Some of the other deals, it's just, it blows your mind every year. At least it does for me. The NBA's media deal has just allowed some of the most absurd contracts. If it was any other sport, it would be just groundbreaking news every time one of these guys signed. Paul George opted out of his contract with the Clippers. He signed a 4-year, $212 million max contract with the 76ers. 76ers also signed Tyrese Maxey to a 5-year, $204 million contract extension.
Poor Clippers, though. They got the new arena, and Kawhi, half healthy is coming back, and James Harden coming back, but at an extraordinary salary. And then what else do they have? I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking at Hey, Woods, have you ever heard of Isaiah Hartenstein?
Yeah, it was the guy on the Knicks. A pretty good role player for the playoff run, but they ran into now cap problems because of the trade.
And now he gets a
Mikal
max
Bridges.
deal somewhere else.
So he has to go
3
somewhere
years,
else.
$87 million to the Oklahoma
wild.
City Thunder.
It's wild.
That's just crazy. But everyone's waiting to see what the Lakers do right now. And then finally, usually I give you a weird story, but if I don't have a weird story, I do have weird audio. So this will keep it in sports here.
Ooh, this is nuts.
What the hell was going on? This is the White Sox broadcast.
This is
What's
that
he
guy.
sent this
What's his
over?
name? The
Steve Stone.
No. This was the other guy, the one that's getting all the grief in Chicago. The one that has the radio beef.
John Schifrin.
Schifrin.
Ah,
yes, John Schifrin. He is really. I think to his credit, he's trying real hard to create some excitement around a really bad baseball team. This was one of the wilder calls.
Listen to this home
you
run
will
call.
ever hear.
Luis Robert Jr. back at the wall. Adios! La Pantera! On the prowl. He ties the game here in the 6th inning.
I mean, just the, you know what I mean, just the. La Pantera.
La Pantera!
Great nickname. The Panther.
On the prowl.
That is he got murdered. I
La
mean, there's
Pantera! On the prowl.
Well, we couldn't see Jesse or Don doing that.
Can
at
you
some
imagine?
point?
Scan.
Oh, a Scan could do that. I think Scan could pull that off.
White Sox fans are just, they're like, enough already with you, man. They lost their beloved Jason Benetti, and they get this guy.
La Pantera! On the prowl.
It's unbelievable, man.
Oh, God.
Killed me, dude. La Pantera.
Should you be allowed to have any fun as a broadcaster
No.
when your team
No.
is
I think
so far back in the standing? 30 games out. Worst record in baseball at 24-62.
I don't know how I'd feel if I'm like a White Sox fan watching that game.
I think
I'm
you're mad, dude.
He's trying something.
I think you're mad,
I'm like,
bro.
is he on drugs? Like,
Adam
what's
says
going
people
on?
are always complaining that baseball's boring. This guy's at least trying to make it fun for a crap team. I get it. I do. Hey,
Don and Mud had to do that for a long
They
time.
did, and you know, I'm sure people got annoyed with that too, but I wasn't one of them. This guy, this is not you can't look at this in a silo, as Mike Shell likes to say. It's not in a silo. It's his body of work throughout the season. And if nothing else, it's absolutely hysterical. Save that. That'll be in the tournament of drops.
The White Sox, they won the World Series in
like
2015, I wanted to say. You know, it reminds me that someday it's going to turn bad again for the Padres, because it does for every team at some point.
Could be next week.
Oh, that's going to really
2005. Oh God,
that's going to really be hard. And I know that these last few years have been far from perfect. In fact, they've been more frustrating than satisfying for the most part. But I can't even picture now going back to not being 30 games out in July.
I know
The Padres
what
have
that feels like
mostly
anymore.
been relevant or entertaining,
Correct.
or whatever.
There's been something.
since the Chargers left.
Yeah,
there was 1 or 2 years, and then whether it was Hosmer, where I know, but at the time we were like, oh my God, we're spending
Huge.
money.
Yeah,
Manny, Fernando, and then the rest has been written.
But when they weren't, it was shocking and it was interesting. Whatever.
We were talking about that lineup from the last time the Padres were in Boston, and my wife goes, "How did you guys cover that?" I'm like,
we didn't. We started the
Chargers
next
were
year.
in town. Chargers are still here.
I was playing Walk the Moon, buddy. We're good. I was,
but it's not a lot to say. It's you're always looking 2-3 years down the line, which is tough. It's tough. I'm sure it's what the White Sox fans are doing.
Somebody
right now.
tweeted they liked to picture that guy Schifrin doing that right in Steve Stone, right in his face.
La Pantera!
Steve Stone just sitting there like, what in the hell am I doing in here? Why am I here? So good. I love that. I listened to it 100 times over the weekend. That's going in the tournament of drops for sure.
We've got a special guest, surprise
guest. Oh, and he's a good one. He
Coming
is a
up.
good one.
Shall we tease it? What? Actually, why don't we wait, and when we come back, you'll find out who's going to join us in our final
That's a tease.
segment.
Got a
There
lot of
you
hits.
go.
Got a lot of hits for the San Diego Padres. I'll tell you that.
That's true.
A lot of hits.
Some for the Red Sox as well. Get to that coming up next after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Seen some guesses in the chat as to who our guest is going to be at the bottom of the hour. Mentioned they had a lot of hits with the San Diego Padres and also a few with the Boston Red Sox. Saw Adrian Gonzalez guess in there. No. Aegon is not going to be with us in our next segment. Dave Roberts had hits for both the Padres and the Boston Red Sox.
Yes, it's Dave Roberts. I was going to ask him
Ben, you do a great job.
How it felt to get beat by the Giants on Mickey. Did you guys see this? Mickey Mouse Day? When they gave out Mickey Mouse hats at Oracle yesterday.
Maybe it was just a coincidence.
I mean, that is insane. And they did it. And they beat the crap out of the Dodgers. If we did it, we would have lost by 14 runs. Yeah, we're in partnership with Disney. We just
have been cursed for 40 years.
Right. Yeah. We just happened to be giving away these Mickey Mouse hat, and they just dominated.
So they had Mickey on the field.
Now, are you saying it's because the Dodgers won a Mickey Mouse championship in 2020?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. It just happened to fall. I mean, that was so good. That is incredible. They did make Beat LA shirts on the night before, and they got smoked by the Dodgers. So it was like watching an old Padre game, and I was watching the end of that game. Giants have bases loaded, 1 out in the 10th. All they need is a lazy sac fly to win the game. Strikeout, foul out. And I'm like, ugh! So then Bob Melvin throws his guy out there, hit, walk, hit, homer, walk, hit. And I'm like, 7 runs later.
Oh, yeah, that was a 14-7 game. Yeah,
dude,
a touchdown in the 11th to win it.
And here's Bob. Just standing there wearing it. And
why
I'm
is
like,
this following me around?
Why is this following me? Bro, bases loaded, 1 out against the Dodgers. He's already beaten them on a walk-off the day before. And all you need is a sac fly, a ground ball with eyes, you win that game. But, oh, my Lord, it was like PTSD watching Bob Melvin sitting there rock back and forth while his guys can't get a sac fly and while his next guy can't get an out. In the top of the 11th, man. It was gnarly.
The correct answer, though, of who's going to join us, as some of you has figured out, is Padres Special Assistant Mark Loretta, who was at Fenway Park this weekend and wanted to check in. So we've saved some time in our final segment for Low, and we will speak with Mark Loretta when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, an unexpected treat here. Looking forward to chatting with Mark Loretta. He is standing by. Spent some time in Boston with Padres and fans this weekend, and he's going to join us here on our final segment, Woods, right after our last check of traffic. You're on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just one problem wrapping up our morning drive. Crash in Hillcrest, southbound side of the 163 before Washington Street. Looks like several vehicles involved are blocking the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's funny because, on the occasions when there's Dodgers fans that show up at Petco Park, which, happens, or
from time to time.
Cubs fans visit, everyone always wrings their hands a lot. I saw tons of Padres fans at Fenway Park over the weekend, all over the place. You could hear the Ha-Sung Kim chants like during the game at Fenway Park. And part of the traveling party this week is Padres Special Assistant Mark Loretta, who wanted to call in, joins us right now here on 97.3 The Fan. Lo, good morning to you.
Good morning, boys. Thanks for having me on. I am fired up. I'm very tired this morning, but I am very fired about the weekend. It was a lot of fun. What a blast.
It was so much fun to watch those games. Nice to kind of put your feet up for 2 games. I mean, I like I like those blowouts, man. I played enough ball where people are like, man, I like the closer games. No. Give me the 9-1 where I can put my feet up. Robert Suarez can get himself a nice break, enjoy the scenery in Boston, and not have to worry about getting hot for a game. Lo, it was pretty awesome.
It was, yeah, and I haven't heard this term thrown out there, but I'm going with immaculate offensive inning for the 9-up, 9-score without an out, not even an out recorded. So I don't know how often that's happened in MLB history. I'm sure we could find that out. But that was a really fun inning. There's no question about it. And I just, I wanted to call in and just thank the fans and show some appreciation for just the traveling party. It was hundreds of fans. It wasn't just like. And I know Fenway Park is a bucket list item for a lot of people, and maybe you'd see a couple dozen who want to do the Freedom Trail and, oh by the way, catch a Padre game. This was not the case. This was hundreds of people. Like you said, they had the Ha-Sung Kim chant going, Manny was going. It was awesome. And you don't see that at Fenway. I played there, and you would never see that back, 10 or 15 years ago. It was almost like the Red Sox going on the road, to say like Baltimore or something like that. It was impressive, and I think it fueled the team. It fired them up. You could tell they were interacting with the crowd. Guys were chanting Higgy on Sunday, Saturday, the day he was off, and talking about how he owns the Western Metal Supply. It was really cool. Eric Grupner and I were sitting up, and he invited me up to Sam Kennedy's box, the president of the Red Sox, and we were looking down, just in amazement of how well the Padre fans showed out. And I'm sure some of them are listening today, so I just wanted to give them a shout out. Phenomenal job this weekend.
Is that weird to sit in the president of the Red Sox box and your team is kicking the ever-loving hell out of their team?
We couldn't cheer as much as we wanted to, that's for sure. But
like me in the press box.
Sam had a family wedding conveniently, so he ejected pretty early.
Oh, good.
It may have been a made-up wedding, I don't know, but either way, it was somber in there, but we were internally going nuts.
But Mark, it's not like the Red Sox are having a bad season and fans are looking to unload their tickets at all. They're playing really good baseball as well, and they're right in the thick of the American League playoff chase. I'd imagine fans are pretty excited about that team, which makes it even more impressive how vocal and how prominent the Padres fans were this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple tough years in a row, but this year they're really playing well. They've got some really good young talent. They're pitching well. I had a long conversation with my friend Alex Cora, and he's excited about the team. And I think the Red Sox fans were caught off guard. I was in the hotel on my way out yesterday, and a couple came in. I said, "Oh, where are you guys visiting from?" And like, "Oh no, we're local. We're here for a wedding." And they said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm from San Diego, and we're here for the Padres." He goes, "Man, I didn't know the Padres traveled so well." I said, "Yeah, man."
You're telling me,
do, I guess.
You're telling me a local.
He was shocked.
You're telling me a local didn't look at you and go, "Oh, that's Mark Loretta. I remember you."
No, he didn't.
No,
he didn't say Mark Loretta, Patriots Day.
Yeah, Mark Loretta. Oh man! Well, no, it represented really well on television. And I heard one guy wearing Manny out so bad, and a guy DM'd me said the guy that was wearing Manny out that you could hear on the broadcast got ejected. They were dragging him up the aisle as Manny steps in and hits that bomb and silenced him. It was pretty special. Nice to see him swinging the bat a little bit better over the last month or so, Lo, because when he goes, we go. We need him to keep doing that. He was awesome this weekend.
No doubt. Particularly with Fernando and Bogey and some of those guys out. I mean, Manny can carry this team. He's an aircraft carrier type player, and I think he gets fired up with the booze. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, they remember, a slide he made with the Orioles back, who knows ago. They have long memories in Boston. But, he silenced them. I mean, he was unbelievable. And Jackson Merrill, growing up a Red Sox fan, hitting the homers, having, I don't know, seemed like 10 hits on the series, pretty awesome. But just guys passing the torch, man. It's really, we're a deep lineup. We have good quality at bats, and I mean, it's been an up and down season, no question about it. But it feels like they're hitting their stride, and I hope, like you guys talked about earlier, hope yesterday was kind of a blip on the radar, and they get after it into Texas, which I think they will.
Talking to our pal Mark Loretta here on Ben and Woods this morning. You were around the team last year as well. I mean, there's a visible difference when you're watching on television. There's a difference when we go down there, once a month to check in and say hello. You can definitely feel that these guys really, really pull for each other. They really, really love each other. It seems to be making a difference on the field. Listen, they're not running away with the West or anything, but man, they're hanging around and overcoming injuries and stuff like that. How much credit do you give to the skipper, Mike Schilt?
Yeah, I give Mike a lot of credit, no question. I think he stayed so steady this year. It would have been very easy for him to sort of not jump off the wagon, but be pretty critical of his team. And he just said, stay the course. And I think that's really energized this team. And there's a lot of young players. I mean, with Jackson, then you get. I think we have a lot more depth than we had last year. You got a guy like Sullivan come up, hit a home run. Obviously Higgy, but Solano and some of the veteran presence, and it's really fun to watch. It's team baseball. It feels like every time we lay a bunt down, we win.
All right, let's settle down on that, on the bunting. I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh boy.
Bunting for
okay.
oh boy.
Sorry.
All right, sorry. Hope you're taking this job more, giving this more attention than you did at fantasy camp the last go around.
Well, yeah, this is more important than fantasy camp.
Well,
sorry to tell you.
I mean, so you say.
It's debatable.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, depends on who you ask, Lo.
By the way, we just finalized our coaching staff for fantasy camp. It's an all-star cast. So
I don't want to get traded again. Can I just put that out there? I did not like
Terry
being traded.
Kennedy's the one who traded you.
He
so,
did.
Yeah.
Is TK coming back?
Yeah.
Who?
TK?
Oh, yeah, he's coming back.
I'm
Yeah,
not
he
going
loves you.
there. I'm not going there.
Yeah, but Dave Dubecki and Booney's going to be out there this year.
The best.
Greg Garcia's coming out?
Garcia's coming out?
Greg
Yes.
Garcia.
It's going
to be a great group.
Just a bunch of scrappers.
We got Mark Loretta on the line. So, Mark, one of the things that makes baseball great are all these interwoven threads. And this weekend, Matt Waldron was a big story, going to Fenway Park where Tim Wakefield pitched and got some advice on the knuckleball from Tim Wakefield. It was obviously emotional. Now, when Tim Wakefield pitched for the Red Sox, his personal catcher was Doug Mirabelli, who, of course, you were traded for from the San Diego Padres to the Boston Red Sox in the 2005 offseason, and didn't work out very well. They missed him because no one could catch Tim Wakefield, and they ended up having to send him right back. I've always wondered, though, and God rest Kevin Towers, loved KT more than anything, why on earth did he trade you for Doug Mirabelli? That makes no sense to me 18 years later.
Yeah, that was the second time I've been traded, and it was, obviously loved playing in San Diego. When KT called me, I was bummed out, and then he said, "Well, you're going to the Red Sox." I said, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And then I asked him, "Well, who would you trade me for?" And then I was a little bummed out after that. The backup catcher.
You went to the All-Star game that next year. I mean, what was going on there?
I don't know. I was making decent money.
Okay.
It wasn't, maybe that was part of it. For me, at least, decent back then. But I don't know. Yeah, it was a little bit of buzzkill when Mirabelli's name was mentioned. However, it became a folk legend story when he had to come back. He got traded on the day that Wakefield was pitching one of his returns in the rotation, and Doug landed like 30 minutes before game time, and they picked him up in a police escort. They had his uniform in the car.
Oh my God!
He changed in the car. He caught the first inning straight from the car without a cup on. Never forget it. And I'm like, wait. We're all like, wait a second. You're a backup catcher. You're not this god coming in as a savior. But he took it well. I mean, he didn't have good things to say about San Diego when he left, which is kind of BS. But it was that's the threads of baseball. That's the beauty of it. There's so much connection.
Could be worse. Could be traded for a guy on another team that has like a shredded hamstring, but they don't like you so much that they want to get rid of you. And it's fine.
It turned out for the Padres because when the Red Sox desperately needed Mirabelli back, they kind of fleeced him.
They did. They did.
Yeah. Josh Bard. Yeah. So who were good contributors.
KT was playing the long game on that one, apparently.
That's right. Yeah. He was thinking about 2 trades down the line.
But then you come in, Waldron is pitching and talking about Wakefield, and you've got the Tim Wakefield honoring that's been going on this year at Fenway Park, and it just all kind of connects together, Mark.
It really does, yeah. And Wakefield was a great teammate. I got a chance to play with him, and his wife unfortunately passed away right after him as well. It's just a crazy story, but. Special place Fenway, no question about it. And again, I'm sure there's some of the people who are on the trip or listening today. I just want to, thank them, give them a shout out, and what the fans have done at Petco with averaging 40,000, and what Eric Grupner and his group have done. I think the franchise is in great shape, and just got to get some separation from 500, which I think we're starting to do.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling, my friend. And looking forward to July, always a really exciting month around these parts. So hopefully AJ can get creative and if we need to bolster the rotation of the bullpen, man, it's been a fun first 80 or so games, man. It's been incredible.
It has. And I know I owe you guys a golf game.
You do.
Let's look at that list of the schedule.
All right, let's get it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks,
Take care.
buddy. Appreciate you.
Okay, guys. Take care.
Mark Loretta, Padres special assistant, was in Boston with the team and impressed with the turnout of Padres fans over the weekend at Fenway Park. Last couple of minutes, and obviously no game today. We'll talk more about the upcoming series against the Texas Rangers tomorrow. So the Rangers are defending, of course, their World Series title. It has not gone that well for Boch so far this season. In fact, looking at the American League wildcard standings right now, the Texas Rangers are 8 games out of a playoff spot. 8 games out of the third wildcard spot.
Wow.
At 38 and 46, 8 games under 500. Just ended a 6-game losing streak. Had another 5-1, though, a couple of weeks ago. Just has not really come together for Boch's team the way it did last year. And, I mean, there's a few players difference, and there's some injuries, but it's not that different of a team from last year. It's simply health and a couple of factors that you go from World Series winner to team that really is probably going to be a seller at the deadline, unless they go on a run here in the next couple of weeks. And Padres
better not
don't
start tomorrow.
Start it here in the next 3 days. They're going to be a team that's probably selling pieces at the deadline because 8 games out and they're behind the Blue Jays, who are already in sell mode. They're behind the Rays, 4 games behind them, the Astros, who are rising, behind the Red Sox, who are a game and a half out of a playoff spot.
I don't know.
It's not really a feasible road to get back to the postseason.
I don't know if they're sellers. I really don't. I think, don't they have DeGrom coming back, Scherzer coming back? I don't know.
Scherzer's pitching, and he's
is he throwing? Is he throwing against us?
Final game of the series on 4th of July.
So I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't know if you can look at that team and say, well, they're certainly not capable of.
But unlike the National League, where it looks like 84, 85 wins is enough, it might be more like 89, 90 wins to get to the postseason in the American League because so many teams are already at 47 wins or higher, which means they'd have to go. They have to go 40, 52, and 30 the rest of the way. They'd have to play insane baseball.
They got some time to figure it out. They do, and like I said, hopefully it doesn't come at our expense the next few days. They're the team we beat last year that gave us the hope. Remember that?
That's right.
We beat the Rangers and said,
swept them last year.
Yeah, we should definitely go out and buy right now because we are going to storm our way into the playoffs. It just didn't happen. So I don't want to be the team that gets them right, certainly. Corey Seager got hit on the hand the other night. He's out. I don't know if he's going to be back.
I don't think they put him on the injured list, but he's not necessarily available either.
Yep. So, I mean, they're Andrew Haney pitched yesterday. I'm so glad we missed him. He was brilliant last night against the Orioles. I watched a lot of that start. But yeah, man, I mean, these are winnable games against a team that's kind of on the outs.
There are 5 teams in baseball that have a worse record than the Texas Rangers: Rockies, Marlins, White Sox, A's, and Angels. That's it. Those are the only teams below the Rangers in the standings. Those are the 5 worst teams in all of baseball. That's where the Rangers are right now.
It's wild.
Coming off their World Series championship.
I had them picked to take a big step back this year because that World Series hangover is a real thing. I mean, that's why those dynasties are really, really hard to do, man, to keep guys healthy, keep guys not motivated, but keep guys playing at that level. But you are starting to see, like, Langford was a guy that had struggled early in the season. They moved him. They brought him up as a rookie, Benny, and they had him DHing, and he's like, guys, I am not a DH. I'm a young outfielder. I can fly. Like, put me in the outfield. Very virile
out there.
And they got him sitting there waiting to hit for between innings. And no, he's out in the outfield now. He's playing much better. So hit for the cycle last night. They're a dangerous team. Adolis Garcia, still, he stepped up to the plate last night, and I just went, oh, my God, I forgot what a unit. I haven't seen much Texas Ranger baseball at all. But, again, Scherzer coming back could be a lift. They got the month of July to figure it out. I don't expect them to continue on this pace, but I'd like them to get it started next week.
Not this week.
After we're done.
But if they don't get it started in this week or next, it's going to be too late to get it started for Boch and company.
They got pieces that they can absolutely move, so they could do that. It's just really hard to sell to the fan base. Hey, I know we just won a World Series. We continue
or
to
is
spend.
It easier to sell?
Or maybe it's easier.
I don't know.
Maybe it's easier. I mean, look, CY is a really good GM. He's a really good GM, as evidenced by his World Series win last year. And Boch is a good manager. I think if there's a team that gets a little bit of leeway, it's probably them. But we'll see, man. We'll see. We got to take care of biz.
Well, we'll have more on that series tomorrow. We'll be joined by Jesse Agler for the Incorporator, live from Dallas, Texas, here in Dallas. Jesse will join us, and much more on a Tuesday. Looking forward to it. That's it for us today. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Annie and Braden coming up next. Craig on that road trip, but you'll have Annie and Braden for the next 4 hours right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.